Have you ever really stopped to think about money? Not just having it or wanting it, but what it is. We use it every single day, for everything from buying a snack to saving for college. But is money itself a good thing? Or can it be something bad? Here's the thing. Money, by itself, is just a tool. It's not alive. It doesn't have feelings. It doesn't have a mind of its own. Imagine a hammer. A hammer isn't good or bad. It can be used to build a beautiful house, something that shelters a family and brings joy. Or it can be used to break something valuable, or even to hurt someone. The hammer isn't good or bad. Its purpose, and whether it helps or harms, comes from the person holding it. Money is a lot like that hammer. Long ago, people didn't use money. They traded things directly. If you had extra corn and needed shoes, you'd find someone with shoes who needed corn. This worked, but it was hard. So people slowly invented money. First, they used things like shells or salt. Later, they made coins from metal and printed paper bills. Money was created to make trading simpler, to make life easier for everyone. It was just a way to measure value and exchange goods and services. Since then, people have thought a lot about money. Some wise thinkers from ancient times said money was the root of all evil. They believed it made people greedy and selfish. They saw how people sometimes hurt each other for more money, or valued money more than kindness. But other thinkers said money was necessary for society to work. They pointed out that it allowed people to specialize in different jobs, helping society grow and create amazing things. It's been a big debate for thousands of years. Think about a smartphone again. This can help you understand money. A smartphone can be used for amazing things. You can use it to learn new facts, to connect with family far away, or to create art and music. It can be a powerful tool for good. But the same phone can also be used to spread rumors, to waste time, or even to bully others. The phone itself isn't the problem. It's how the person holding it decides to use it. So, money isn't a monster, and it isn't a hero. It's just paper and metal, or numbers on a screen. Its true nature comes from us. It gets its power from the choices we make. When we have it, when we earn it, and when we spend it. Money can build hospitals, feed the hungry, and fund important research that saves lives. It can also fund wars, support unfair systems, or be hoarded by those who don't share. What money does in the world is really a reflection of what we, as humans, choose to do with it. It reminds us that our own actions and values are what truly matter. It seems strange, doesn't it, to be afraid of money when so many people spend their lives trying to get more of it? We often think of money as something good. It buys us things we need or want, and gives us choices. But for some cultures, for many people across history, money wasn't just seen as helpful. It was seen as dangerous, even something to be truly feared. Think about it this way. Not every powerful thing is automatically good. A strong current in a river can power a mill, but it can also pull you under if you're not careful. Fire can warm your home and cook your food, but it can also burn everything down. Money, in a similar way, has immense power, and it's this power that some societies have worried about, believing it could corrupt people, break apart communities, or lead them away from what truly matters. Here's the thing. In many old traditions, true wealth wasn't counted in coins. It was found in connection to family, to nature, to a spiritual path. When money became important, these older ways felt threatened. Some believed that chasing money would make people greedy, turning them against each other instead of working together. They saw money as something that could make people selfish, caring only about themselves, not sharing. This isn't just an ancient idea. You can see echoes of it in stories and beliefs even today. Some spiritual teachings warn that the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. It's not the money itself that's bad, but the way people might change when they crave it too much. Imagine a group of friends who always share their snacks, their toys, their time, and then, suddenly, a big prize is offered, but only one person can win it. How might that prize change how they act towards each other? The prize isn't evil, but the desire for it could make them forget their friendship, leading to jealousy or unfairness. Historically, this fear grew from seeing how wealth could lead to suffering. Powerful empires, rich from conquest, often left behind broken people and lands. People saw how those with money could become unfair, even cruel, using their wealth to control others or cause harm. They learned that focusing too much on getting rich could make people forget their kindness, their respect for nature, or their connection to a higher purpose. It was like watching a beautiful garden filled with weeds because the gardener only cared about one big, shiny flower. The fear wasn't of the flower, but of what its pursuit did to the garden. So, for these cultures, fearing money wasn't about being against comfort. It was a deeper fear. What money could do to the human spirit, to a community's heart, if it became the main goal. It was a quiet warning, passed down through generations. Be careful with this powerful thing. Don't let it blind you to what truly gives life meaning, to the things that nourish your soul and build a strong, kind world. Money is just a tool, and like any tool, it can build beautiful things, or it can tear them down. The choice, they believed, was always in our hands. Have you ever thought about money and wondered if it could carry a story or even a feeling beyond just its number? Sometimes people talk about dirty money. What does that really mean? Is money something that can literally get dirty? Here's the thing. Dirty money isn't about physical dirt or mud. It's a way of describing money that comes from bad actions. Think about money made from cheating someone, or stealing, or doing something truly harmful. That's what people mean by dirty money. It's not the actual bills or coins that are dirty, but the way they were gotten. It carries a stain not on its surface, but on its history. For a long time, cultures around the world have had ideas about money and its origins. In ancient times, if someone gained a lot of wealth through unfair wars, or by tricking people, that wealth might have been seen differently. It wasn't just how much money you had, but how you got it. Some beliefs held that money earned through violence or dishonesty brought bad luck, or even a kind of spiritual heaviness to the person who held it. It was like a cloud hanging over the gold. Imagine this. You have a favorite t-shirt. You love it, but then you use it to clean up a really messy, sticky spill. Something truly gross. Even after you wash it, really scrub it clean, does it ever feel quite the same? Maybe a tiny part of you remembers what it was used for. It's still a shirt. It still functions. But in your mind, it might carry that memory. That's a bit like how dirty money works. The money itself is just paper or metal, but the story behind how it was obtained changes how it feels, not just to the person who has it, but sometimes to society too. It can feel tainted, like it carries the weight of a wrong action. And here's what happens. When money is earned unfairly, it often means someone else was hurt. Someone lost out, or suffered because of the way that money was made. So, the dirt isn't just a label. It points to real consequences and real harm. It's a way of saying that the process matters, not just the outcome. It reminds us that money is not separate from the human actions that create it or use it. So, when we talk about dirty money, we're really talking about a deeper truth. Money, on its own, is just a tool, a way to trade things. It's neutral, but the choices we make to get it, and the actions we take, are full of meaning. They can make that money feel heavy, shadowed by its past, or they can make it feel light and clear. It makes us think about responsibility and fairness, and how our choices about money ripple out into the world. And that's why it matters. We often hear about the problems money causes, right? How it can lead to greed or make things unfair. We see it in stories, in the news. But what if money could be something truly good? What if, sometimes, money could actually be a blessing? Here's the thing. Money itself isn't good or bad. It's just a tool. Think of it like a hammer. A hammer can help build a beautiful treehouse, something amazing for everyone to enjoy. Or it could be used to break something. It just depends on the person holding the hammer and what they decide to do with it. Money works the same way. When it's used with care, with good intentions, it can help make wonderful things happen. For a very long time, people have thought about this idea. In many ancient cultures, having plenty, like a really good harvest or successful trading, wasn't just about one person getting rich. It was often seen as a gift. And that gift was meant to be shared with the whole community. When a village had a lot of food or resources, it meant everyone could eat. It meant everyone was safer and had what they needed. Sharing what they had was key. It was about creating more good for everyone, not just for a few people. Even today, many old wisdom teachings tell us that true wealth isn't just about having a big pile of stuff. It's about what you do with what you have. It's about generosity, about helping others, and using resources to make the world better. Imagine money as flowing water. If water just sits in a muddy puddle, it gets still and doesn't do much good. But if water flows, it can bring life. It can water plants, help fish swim, and give people a drink when they're thirsty. Money is a bit like that. When it flows out, used to help, to create, to support, it brings life to things. It helps dreams grow and projects take off. Think about how a small amount of money put into something good can create a big ripple effect. Maybe someone uses money to buy art supplies for a community center, letting young artists create amazing things they couldn't before. Or they might support a local animal shelter so stray pets can find loving homes. It's not just about the money itself, it's about what it makes possible. It could be helping a classmate buy a book they really need for school, or donating to a local park cleanup. Those actions, powered by money, make a real difference in people's lives and in the world around us. So, when money is used with a good heart, it can truly be a blessing. It becomes a way to show care, to build new things, to share opportunities, and to make the world a little brighter. It allows us to turn good ideas and good intentions into real actions. It shows that our resources, whether big or small, can be channels for kindness and connection. It's not just about what money can buy, but what it can do for others and for the world around us. It changes from just paper and numbers into a quiet force for good, helping make things better for everyone. Have you ever thought about why some people give away money, not just to help someone in need, but because they actually believe it will bring them good fortune? It sounds a bit strange at first, doesn't it? Like, how does giving something away make you get more back? But this idea, this deep belief, is something many cultures around the world share. It's not just about charity, it's about a kind of spiritual exchange, a trust that the universe balances things out. Think about it this way. What if giving money away isn't losing it, but planting a seed? In many ancient traditions, this practice was very common. People would give offerings, not just to gods or spirits, but also to their communities. They believed it kept things in balance. For example, in many religions, there's a concept of tithing, or giving alms, setting aside a part of what you have. It wasn't always seen as just a donation. It was often believed to create blessings, to ensure future abundance, or to clear away bad luck. It's like saying, I trust that there's enough, and by sharing, I open myself to receive even more. Here's the thing. This isn't just an old idea. It's still alive today. People might donate to a temple, give to a street performer, or quietly help a struggling family, all with a quiet hope that this act of generosity will somehow come back to them. It's not about being selfish, though. It's more about understanding a deeper law, a universal flow of giving and receiving. It suggests that abundance isn't a fixed pie. It's something that grows when it's shared. Think about a simple echo. You yell into a canyon, and your voice comes back to you. The sound you send out is the sound you get back. Now, money isn't sound, of course, but the energy behind giving might work in a similar way. When you give with an open heart, with true generosity and belief, you're sending out a positive energy. This isn't a magical spell, and it's not always instant, but consider how you feel when you genuinely help someone. You feel good, right? That good feeling, that sense of connection and purpose, is a kind of fortune itself. It changes your outlook, and when your outlook is positive, you often see more opportunities and attract more good things into your life. It's a bit like smiling at someone. You smile, and they often smile back. That simple act creates a tiny positive loop. So, this belief about giving money for good luck isn't just about getting rich. It's about building a connection with the world around you. It's about trusting in a cycle that's bigger than just your own wallet. It teaches us that generosity isn't a loss. It's an investment in a kind of positive energy. It's about understanding that when you share what you have, you're not just helping others, you're also opening a door for good things to find their way back to you. Perhaps not always as money, but as peace, happiness, or a deeper sense of belonging. It's a quiet reminder that giving truly can be its own reward, and sometimes even more. Have you ever stopped to really think about where your ideas about money come from? It's a deep question, but the answer might surprise you. A lot of what we believe about money, how we handle it, and even how we feel about it, often starts right in our own homes. It's like an invisible lesson, passed down without anyone even saying much. Here's the thing. Our families create a kind of financial blueprint for us. This blueprint isn't written down. It's built from the things we see, the conversations we overhear, and the feelings tied to money in our household. For example, if your parents always talked about saving for a rainy day, you might grow up feeling like saving is super important. But if money was always a source of stress or secrets, you might carry that tension with you, even as an adult. Think about it like this. A long time ago, before schools and big banks, families were almost everything. They were the main teachers. Children learned how to farm, how to build, how to trade, and how to manage what little they had. Money lessons were part of everyday life. You'd see your parents save grain, mend clothes, or trade goods. These were practical skills, but they also taught deeper lessons about being careful, being thrifty, or even being generous. This idea of passing down knowledge from one generation to the next is a very old and powerful human tradition. It shapes not just our actions, but our very way of seeing the world. So, in a way, your family gives you a kind of starting map for money. Imagine you're going on a trip. Your family hands you a map they've always used. It shows all the safe roads, the places to stop, and maybe even a few shortcuts. You follow it because it's what you know. You might not even realize there are other maps out there, or that some of the roads on your map are now closed, or that new, better roads have been built. For instance, consider two friends, Maya and Ben. Maya grew up in a home where her parents often bought things on credit, always saying, "We'll worry about it later." Money was spent freely, sometimes before it was earned. Ben, on the other hand, watched his parents carefully save every penny, only buying what they could afford. They rarely splurged, and talked often about avoiding debt. As they grow older, Maya might find herself struggling with credit card debt, feeling like it's normal. Ben might be extremely hesitant to spend, even on things he needs, always worried about running out. Neither way is perfect, but both inherited a specific approach without even trying. The amazing part is that while our families give us this starting map, it doesn't have to be our only map. We get to decide if we want to keep using the same roads or if we want to explore new ones. We can look at the beliefs we've absorbed and ask ourselves, is this belief truly helping me, or is it holding me back? It's not about judging our families, but about understanding where our own money story began. It's about realizing that we have the power to draw our own financial maps, choosing the paths that lead to a future we want for ourselves. And that's a powerful realization. Have you ever thought about why some families, or even whole cultures, are really, really good at saving money? Not just a little bit, but almost every penny they can. It's more than just being careful with cash. It's a deep-rooted way of seeing the world, a habit passed down through generations. Here's the thing. For many people around the globe, saving isn't just about reaching a big goal, like buying a new phone or a car. It's about security. It's about having a safety net for what's ahead, for things you can't control. Imagine times when life was much harder, when there weren't governments to help, or banks on every corner. People had to rely on themselves and their community. If crops failed or sickness hit, what would you do? You'd need what you had put aside. This way of thinking often comes from a long history. Think about cultures that lived through wars, or hard economic times, or even just tough winters. They learned that holding onto resources was key to survival. It became a kind of wisdom. They understood that the future is uncertain, and being prepared is the best defense. It's about respecting what you have today, knowing it might be needed for tomorrow. This isn't just about money, but about food, supplies, and effort too. It taught them to be patient and to think long-term. It's a bit like a squirrel storing nuts for winter. A squirrel doesn't eat every single nut it finds right away. It gathers, it hides, it saves. Why? Because it knows that sunny, warm days with plenty of food won't last forever. Winter is coming, and food will be scarce. So, the squirrel works hard now, not for instant pleasure, but for survival later. Its instinct tells it, prepare. This isn't greed, it's smart planning. For humans, this winter might be a job loss, an unexpected illness, or simply growing old. And that's why it matters. This deep belief in saving is often tied to a strong sense of family and community. People save not just for themselves, but for their children, for their parents, for their neighbors. It's a quiet promise to protect those you care about. It's a way of saying, we will be okay, because we planned for it. It builds resilience, not just for one person, but for everyone. So, when you see someone carefully putting money aside, remember it might be more than just a simple financial choice. It could be a whisper from the past, a lesson learned through hardship, a quiet act of hope for the future. It shows a deep trust in the value of preparation, and a deep understanding that true wealth is not just what you have today, but what you have saved for tomorrow. It's a silent strength, a commitment to enduring, no matter what comes next. And that's a powerful idea. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to spend their money as soon as they get it, while others hold on to it? It's easy to think everyone sees money the same way, but they don't. In some cultures, there's a strong idea of spending money quickly, not because they're wasteful, but for reasons that go deep into their history and how they see the world. It's about more than just shopping. It's about what money means to them. Imagine living in a time or place where life was really uncertain. Maybe droughts often ruined crops, or wars were common, or there wasn't a steady job market. When you don't know if you'll have food tomorrow, or if your village will be safe, saving might not make sense. Think about it this way. If a harvest is good, but you know next year might be terrible, what do? You might share the wealth, have big celebrations, buy things you need now. It's a way of saying, let's enjoy what we have today, because tomorrow is not promised. This isn't a new idea. Ancient peoples often lived by this principle. They didn't have banks or stable governments in the same way we do now. Money, or whatever they used, could lose its value fast, or be stolen, or simply not be there. So, converting wealth into experiences, gifts, or useful items was a safer bet than hoarding something that might vanish. This way of thinking can be passed down through generations. Even if life becomes more stable, the old beliefs can stick around. It's like a memory in the culture itself. There's a feeling that holding on to money too tightly might even be bad luck, or that it's better to share and build community ties than to just pile up cash. Here's an example. Think about a big family picnic. Maybe there's a huge plate of cookies. If everyone knows there are plenty more in the kitchen and they'll be there tomorrow, people might take one or two and save some for later. But what if someone announces, these are the only cookies, and we're not sure when we'll get more? Suddenly, people might grab more, share them around quickly, or try to enjoy them right then, because the future supply is uncertain. It's kind of like that with money for some cultures. When the supply feels uncertain, or when the future feels unpredictable, the focus shifts to the present. The value isn't in holding the money itself, but in what it can do right now. It can provide comfort, strengthen family bonds, or create memorable moments. It's a practical way of dealing with risk. Use it before you lose it. So, when we see different spending habits, it's not always about right or wrong. It's often about different life stories, different histories, and different ways of looking at time itself. Some cultures value the steady building of wealth for a long future. Others value the power of money to create a good present, especially when the future feels out of their hands. Understanding this helps us see the world with more curious eyes. It shows that money isn't just numbers in a bank account. It's connected to our deepest fears, our strongest hopes, and the way our ancestors survived. It reminds us that our own beliefs about money are also shaped by the world we live in, and by the stories that have been passed down to us, whether we realize it or not. And that's pretty deep when you think about it. Have you ever thought about money in a way that goes beyond just counting it? What if money isn't just about what you can buy, but also about something deeper, something unseen? Here's the thing. Many cultures, both long ago and even today, connect money and wealth to the spirit world. This idea might sound a bit mysterious, but it's really about how people try to understand why some have a lot and others have very little. For many cultures, wealth, or even a lack of it, wasn't just random. It was often seen as a blessing, a gift, or sometimes even a test from ancestors, gods, or other unseen forces. It wasn't about who worked harder, but about who was favored or who had good spiritual connections. For example, imagine a community thousands of years ago. Their lives depended on the harvest, on hunting, or on trading. If the crops failed, or the hunting was bad, it meant hardship. When things went well, with plenty of food and successful trades, people often thought it was because the spirits were happy, or the ancestors were watching over them. So, they would make offerings, sometimes even valuable things, to these spirits. They hoped this would keep the good luck coming, ensuring prosperity for their families and tribe. Money, or valuable goods, became a way to connect with these unseen powers. It was a kind of spiritual currency. Think about it like this. You might have a favorite lucky pen for tests. It's just a pen, right? But you believe it helps you do better. That belief gives the pen a special feeling, a kind of invisible power for you. In a similar way, for some cultures, money itself holds an energy. It's not just paper or metal. It's connected to blessings, good fortune, or the flow of life. If you treat money with respect, if you see it as something that comes from a good place, like a gift from the universe or your ancestors, then your mindset shifts. This might make you feel more confident about having money, and sometimes that confidence can actually help you attract more of it. It's like how your belief in that lucky pen can help you feel calmer and think clearer during a test. The power is in the belief, not just the object. So, this idea of money in the spirit world isn't always about actual ghosts or magic spells. It's about how humans try to make sense of the world, especially the parts that seem out of our control, like luck or unexpected gains. It helps people feel like they have some say over their fate. These beliefs remind us that our connection to money can be deeper than we think. It's tied to our values, our community, and the stories we tell ourselves about success and belonging. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What stories you tell yourself about money, and how those stories might shape your own path. Have you ever heard someone say, "Money doesn't grow on trees"? It's a common phrase, usually said when someone asks for something expensive. But have you ever really stopped to think about what it means? Like really, think about it. Beyond just the surface? Money, as we know it today, is mostly paper or metal coins. You can't just pick it off a branch, right? A tree makes apples, or acorns, or leaves. It doesn't print dollar bills. And that's the simple truth. Money isn't a natural thing found in nature, like water, or air, or sunlight. Those things exist whether humans are here or not. Money, though, that's entirely a human invention. For a long, long time, before money even existed, people traded things directly. This was called bartering. If you had extra fish, and your neighbor had extra corn, you could trade. It seemed easy enough at first. But what if you had fish, and you needed shoes, but the shoemaker only wanted wool? This became a real problem. It was hard to find someone who had what you needed and wanted what you had. It was a clunky, slow way to do things. So, over time, people came up with an idea. What if we use something that everyone agrees has value? At different points in history, different cultures used all sorts of things. Pretty shells, chunks of salt, big heavy stones, or shiny metals. Eventually, many places settled on coins and paper bills. Here's the thing about these items. They aren't valuable because of what they are. A dollar bill is just paper and ink. Its value comes from the agreement we all make. We agree that this piece of paper means something. It represents a certain amount of work, or a certain amount of goods or services. It's a symbol. It's like a promise. Think about a video game. In the game, you might collect gold coins or special gems. These points let you buy upgrades or new characters inside that game, right? But outside the game, those points don't exist. They don't have any real-world value. They only matter within the rules of that specific game. Money is a bit like that. It's a system. a set of rules we all play by in our economy. It helps us keep score, and it helps us trade things fairly without having to haul around actual fish or corn to every shop. So, when someone says money doesn't grow on trees, they're not just being grumpy or stating the obvious. They're pointing to a deeper truth. Money isn't just there for the taking. It has to be created, earned, or exchanged through effort, skill, or by providing something valuable to others. It is a tool, a way for us to move value around. It reflects our work, our ideas, and our shared trust in each other. It's not something we pick from a branch. It's something we build, piece by piece, day by day, through what we do and how we connect with each other. It's a powerful symbol of our collective effort and belief in a shared way of life. Have you ever found yourself wishing for money to just appear, like winning the lottery or finding a forgotten treasure chest? It sounds like a dream, doesn't it? But cultures across time have whispered warnings about such easy gains. Here's the thing. Sometimes, when money comes too easily, it can become a burden instead of a blessing. We call this the curse of easy money. It's not about the money itself being bad, but about what happens to us when we get wealth without effort. When you work for something, you learn its value. You understand the time, the effort, the choices that went into earning it. But if money just drops into your lap, you miss out on those lessons. There's no struggle, no growth, no deep understanding of what it means to build something. Think about old stories, ancient myths. Many of them warn against sudden, unearned riches. They talk about people who gain fortunes overnight only to lose it all, or to find their lives filled with new, harder problems. It's almost as if the universe asks for balance. If something comes without effort, it might leave just as easily, or worse, leave you emptier than before. This idea isn't new. It has echoed through history because people have seen it happen again and again. Imagine a young tree. If you give it all the water, all the sunlight, and all the nutrients without it ever having to stretch its roots deep into the earth, it might grow tall very quickly, but its roots will be shallow. The first big storm, the first strong wind, and it might fall. Now think about a tree that had to fight for its water, had to push its roots through hard soil. That tree grows slower, but its roots are strong, holding it firm against any storm. That deep root system is like the character, the wisdom, and the inner strength you gain when you work for what you have. Without that effort, without those roots, easy money can lead to impulsive spending, a lack of appreciation, or even a feeling of being lost. It can make you feel like you don't really own your success because you didn't build it. You might not learn how to manage it, how to protect it, or how to make it grow in a healthy way. So, the curse isn't a magical spell. It's more like a natural consequence of skipping important steps in life. It reminds us that true value isn't just in having things, but in the person you become while getting them. It's about the lessons learned, the strength gained, and the quiet knowing that you truly earned what you have. Maybe the hardest paths are the ones that lead to the greatest treasures within ourselves. Have you ever really thought about the idea that if you just work hard enough, you'll get rich? It's a powerful idea, isn't it? This belief suggests a simple bargain. You put in effort, you get money and success. It feels fair. It feels like common sense. Like you deserve what you earn, and what you earn depends on how much you do. For centuries, in many parts of the world, this idea has shaped how people think about life and money. Think about early America, for example. The idea of the American dream often centered on this. People came with nothing, worked incredibly hard, and built new lives. They believed that hard work could lift you from poverty to prosperity. It was a strong promise, a beacon of hope. This was especially true during times when industries were growing fast, and there were many opportunities for people willing to put in long hours. Even before that, certain religious ideas spoke about the value of hard work and being careful with your resources. They suggested that if you were diligent and thoughtful, good things would come your way. It wasn't just about money, but about living a good, moral life. The belief was that your effort was seen, and it would be rewarded. Maybe not always immediately, but eventually. This mindset helped build communities and economies, as people were encouraged to be productive and save. Here's a way to think about it. Imagine you're trying to learn a new skill, like playing the guitar. At first, it's really hard. Your fingers hurt. The chords sound messy. But you practice every day. You spend hours strumming, learning notes, trying to get it right. Slowly, you get better. Your fingers move more easily. The music sounds clearer. This is a clear example of how your effort directly leads to improvement. You worked hard, and you got better. The belief about money works in a similar way in our minds. More effort, more reward. But is it always that simple with money? Life isn't always like learning a guitar. Sometimes, people work incredibly hard their whole lives and still struggle. Maybe they face challenges beyond their control, like a tough economy, or not having the same opportunities as others. So, while working hard is incredibly important and often helps us reach our goals, it's also important to remember that the world is a complex place. This belief, work hard, get rich, is a very strong motivator. It tells us that our effort matters, that our actions can shape our future. And that's a beautiful thought. It pushes us to try, to push ourselves, to aim higher. But it's also just one piece of a much larger, more complicated puzzle about how money works in the world. It's a starting point for thinking, not the whole answer. It invites us to consider not just personal effort, but also the bigger picture of how opportunities and systems affect people's lives. Have you ever stopped to wonder if your future path is already set? And if it is, does something like money have a role in it? This is a really old, deep question that people have thought about for thousands of years. Many cultures around the world believe that money isn't just paper or coins. They think it's deeply tied to your fate, your purpose, or even your destiny. For some, money is seen as a sign from the universe or from a higher power. If you have a lot of wealth, it might mean you are blessed or that you are doing what you are meant to do. In ancient times, kings and queens often believed their riches proved the gods favored them. On the other hand, if someone struggled with money, it was sometimes seen as a test, or maybe even a consequence of past actions. Think about the idea of karma, which is big in some Eastern philosophies, like Buddhism and Hinduism. Karma means that every action you take, good or bad, comes back to you. So, if you were kind and generous in a past life, you might be born into a situation where money comes easily to you. But if you were selfish, you might face challenges with money in this life. It's not about punishment, but about balancing things out. It suggests your financial situation isn't just random. It's linked to a bigger, ongoing story of your soul. In other parts of the world, especially in cultures influenced by Christianity, Judaism, or Islam, people sometimes talk about divine providence. This means that God or a higher power provides for you, or holds back, based on a plan for your life. Your financial situation isn't just about your hard work. It's part of a larger, unseen design. This doesn't mean you just sit back and do nothing. Instead, it might mean that even your efforts are guided, or that the opportunities you find are put there for a reason. So, here's the thing. Whether you believe in destiny or not, these ideas show us how powerful our beliefs about money can be. Imagine you're learning to ride a bike. If you truly believe you're destined to fall and never learn, you might not practice much, and you'll likely fall a lot. But if you believe you can learn, even if it's hard, you keep trying. You focus, you balance, and eventually, you ride. Your belief shapes your actions, and your actions shape your results. Money can be like that. If you truly believe money will always be a struggle, you might not look for opportunities, or you might make choices that keep it a struggle. But if you believe it can flow to you, you might be more open to learning, working hard, and seeing chances. No one knows for sure if our destiny is truly fixed, but thinking about money and destiny makes us consider our own beliefs. It invites us to reflect on how our mindset about money might be guiding our actions, day by day, choice by choice. Maybe our destiny isn't a tightrope we're forced to walk, but more like a wide river. And our beliefs about money, along with our actions, are like the way we paddle our boat, influencing the journey as we move along. We are still on the river, but we have some say in how we travel it. Have you ever thought about why we give gifts? Or, more specifically, why someone might give money as a gift? It might seem a bit simple, right? Like, here's some cash, buy what you want. But in many cultures, Giving money isn't simple at all. It's actually a really powerful way to show deep respect. Here's the thing. Money, for some, isn't just about what it can buy. It's about energy. It's about the time and effort someone spent to earn it. So, when that earned money is given as a gift, it's like sharing a piece of your own hard work, your own life energy, with another person. It's a way of saying, I value you so much. I'm giving you a part of my own valuable effort. It's not about the exact dollar amount itself, but the deep intention behind it. It's a sign of honor. Think about older times. Long before banks and credit cards, people traded goods, or they gave things they'd worked hard to create. Food they grew, tools they made, clothes they wove. Giving something valuable meant acknowledging another person's importance. Money, when it became a common thing, stepped into this role. It became a symbol. When you hand over a carefully chosen amount, often in a special envelope or with a ceremony, you're not just giving cash, you're giving a blessing. You're showing that you see their worth, their struggles, their future. You're saying, I support you, and I honor your path. It's a recognition of status, a mark of blessing, and a way to express a deep, quiet admiration. Imagine you're working on a big project for school, something that takes hours and hours of your time. You stay up late, you research, you put in a lot of effort. Now, imagine someone you really look up to, like a grandparent or a wise elder in your community, sees how hard you're working, and then they quietly give you a small amount of money, not as payment, but as a recognition of your effort. It's not about buying you something. It's about them saying, I see your dedication. I appreciate your struggle. I want to help you continue on your path. That money feels different, doesn't it? It feels like their belief in you, their respect for your efforts, made into something you can hold. It carries their good wishes and their trust. It's like when a teacher gives you a special commendation for a project. It's not just a good grade. It's a statement of respect for your hard work. So, when we see cultures where money is given at important events like weddings or graduations, or sometimes even funerals, it's not always about practicality. It's a profound statement. It's a whisper of, I see you, I value you, and I wish you well. It reminds us that even something as common as money can carry the deepest human feelings. It can be a bridge between hearts, a quiet nod of approval, and a powerful symbol of respect that speaks louder than words ever could. It makes you think, doesn't it? About all the unseen meanings in the things we give and receive. Have you ever stopped to really think about what it means to share? Not just sharing a snack, but sharing everything? Imagine a world where the idea of mine hardly existed. What if your clothes, your food, your shelter, even your money, if money even existed in the way we know it, belonged to everyone in your group? This isn't just a fantasy. Many cultures, both long ago and even today, live or have lived with this deep belief in sharing all resources. Here's the thing. For them, wealth isn't about how much one person has. It's about how much the whole community has, and how freely resources flow to whoever needs them most. This isn't about charity, or just being nice. It's a foundational way of life, built on the idea that everyone's well-being is connected. If one person struggles, the whole group feels it. If one person thrives, everyone benefits. Think back to early human times, or even some indigenous cultures around the world. Life was tough, food was scarce, danger was always near. To survive, people had to work together. If someone found a big animal, they didn't eat it alone. Everyone shared. If someone got sick, the whole tribe took care of them. This wasn't generosity. It was pure common sense. It meant no one was left behind. It built incredibly strong bonds of trust and belonging. This way of life wasn't about being poor, actually. It was about a different kind of richness. It was about knowing you were truly safe because you were part of something bigger than yourself. It meant security didn't come from a full bank account, but from a full circle of people who would always have your back. Your future wasn't just your responsibility. It was everyone's Belgian. You might wonder how this works in our lives today. Here's what I found. Think about a sports team. Imagine a basketball team on the court. The ball isn't my ball for one player to hoard. The points aren't my points for one person to claim as their own, even if they shoot the most baskets. Instead, the ball moves, passes from hand to hand. Players help each other, set screens, and cheer for every score, no matter who made it. Every player shares the effort, the wins, and even the losses. If one player is doing great, it helps the whole team. If a player is struggling, the team works to lift them up. Their strength comes from leaning on each other, from playing as one unit, not just from individual skill. And when they win, the victory belongs to everyone, equally. That shared effort leads to a shared victory, a shared feeling of success. This kind of sharing, whether on a court or in an ancient tribe, reminds us that resources, and this includes money, can be seen differently. It's not just something to own and hold on to. It can be like blood flowing through a body, nourishing every part. It's about understanding that our own well-being is deeply connected to the well-being of others. This might seem like a simple idea, but its meaning runs very deep. So, maybe true security, true peace, comes not just from how much we have individually, but from knowing we are part of a community that understands and practices this idea of sharing. It might not be how most of us live now, but it offers a calm, thoughtful way to consider what rich truly means and how we are all truly connected. Have you ever thought about how money affects more than just what we can buy? It's not just about fancy cars or big houses. Sometimes, money can quietly shape where we fit in the world. It can even change how others see us. For a long, long time, how much someone had was deeply tied to their spot in the community. Imagine ancient Egypt. The pharaoh, who ruled, also controlled most of the wealth. He was at the very top. Below him were powerful priests and nobles, people who owned land or held important jobs. And they, too, had many resources. Then came the regular farmers and workers, who had much less. Their money, or rather their lack of it, clearly showed their standing. It dictated their daily lives. And it wasn't just in Egypt. Think about castles in medieval Europe. The lord of the castle owned all the land. He commanded the money and the power. The people who lived on his land, the serfs, worked hard but had almost nothing of their own. They depended entirely on the lord. This wasn't just about survival. It was about who had respect and a voice. Their place in society was basically decided by their wealth, or by who owned the wealth around them. Even today, in our modern world, this idea hasn't completely disappeared. Money can still open important doors. It can mean access to better schools, which might lead to better jobs. It can mean being able to live in safer neighborhoods. Sometimes, people with a lot of money are listened to more closely. They might have more power to make decisions that affect many people, simply because their wealth gives them a platform. Think about a school project where your group needs to create a big presentation. The student who can afford the best supplies, like a fancy poster board or special markers, might end up taking a lead role. Their ideas might seem more important or easier to follow because they have the tools to make them look impressive. It's not necessarily fair, and it doesn't mean they're smarter. It just means they have more resources, and that can influence how the group views their contribution and their overall standing within the project. But here's the most important thing to remember. While money can certainly build walls or open gates, it's only one part of who we truly are. It's a tool, yes, and an important one for navigating many parts of life. But it doesn't define our true worth as human beings. A person's character, their kindness, their courage, or their ability to make the world a bit brighter, these things have nothing to do with how much money they have. Those are the deeper, more lasting treasures that genuinely measure a person's impact. It makes you think about what kind of value we truly seek in the world, and what we should cherish most within ourselves and in others. Money is a current, a flow in society that moves things around. But the real depth of a person is measured by something much greater than its tide. Have you ever stopped to think if having a lot of money means someone is just incredibly lucky, or that they've been blessed by something bigger than themselves? In many cultures for a very long time, people have connected being rich with having good fortune. It's a deep idea, one that stretches back centuries and across continents. Here's the thing. For a long time, across many different places, People believed that if you were rich, it was a sign the gods or the universe favored you. It wasn't just about hard work, it was seen as a blessing. Think about ancient Egypt, for example. The pharaohs were incredibly wealthy, and their people saw them as living gods or close to them. Their riches were proof of divine approval, a sign that the gods smiled upon their rule. The same kind of thinking was found in ancient China, where emperors' prosperity was often linked to the mandate of heaven. If the emperor was doing well and the country was rich, it meant he had heaven's blessing. If things went badly, it suggested he had lost that favor. This belief isn't just about emperors and kings. In many traditional communities, if a family had good harvests, healthy livestock, or enough to share, it was often seen as a gift. Maybe they were especially good, or their ancestors were watching over them. It was like their good deeds or their family's history of honor had brought them material rewards. So, wealth wasn't just money. It was a visible sign that things were right, that you were in harmony with the world, or that good karma was coming your way. But is that always true? Is wealth always a direct sign of good fortune? Think about a big, strong tree. It stands tall and seems successful. It might be in a perfect spot with lots of sunlight and water. We might say it's lucky to have that. But the tree also needed to have strong roots, to grow in the right way, and to survive storms. Its strength isn't just luck. It's also its ability to use what it's given. And here's a different way to look at it. Imagine someone who wins a huge lottery prize. Suddenly, they're rich. Are they lucky? Yes, in a financial way. But what if that money brings them a lot of new problems? Maybe they lose friends, or they feel overwhelmed, or they become unhappy even with all the cash. In that case, did the money truly bring good fortune in every sense of the word? Sometimes, what looks like great luck from the outside can feel very different on the inside. So, when we think about being rich, it's more than just counting dollars. It makes us wonder about what true fortune really means. Is it only about money? Or is it also about peace of mind, strong relationships, good health, and a sense of purpose? Perhaps true good fortune is a much broader idea, one that includes money, but isn't defined only by it. It's a quiet thought to hold, that while money can open doors, it doesn't automatically guarantee a life filled with all the good things. Have you ever stopped to think about what true richness means? For most of us, money seems like the answer to everything. It buys us things, makes us feel safe, and opens up possibilities. But what if, in some ways, not having a lot of money, or even choosing to live with very little, could actually be a good thing? What if it could be seen as a kind of strength, a virtue? It sounds strange, right? In our world, we're taught to chase money. But throughout history, and in different cultures, there have been people and groups who saw things differently. For them, having less money wasn't a problem. It was a path to a deeper, more meaningful life. This idea is about letting go of the constant need for more. It's about finding value in things that money can't buy. Think about some ancient thinkers. Long, long ago, in places like ancient Greece, there were philosophers who lived very simply. They didn't care about fancy clothes or big houses. People like the Stoics and Cynics believed that chasing wealth or possessions actually made you unhappy. Why? Because these things are always changing, they can be lost, and wanting them can make you stressed. They thought true happiness came from inside you, from your own mind, from being content with what you have. Living without much money helped them focus on their thoughts, on being good people, and on finding peace, or consider certain spiritual traditions. Many monks and spiritual leaders from different religions choose to live very simple lives. They might give away all their possessions or take vows of poverty. For them, this isn't about being poor for poverty's sake. It's about freeing themselves from distractions. When you're not worried about making more money or protecting what you have, you can focus on your spiritual journey, on helping others, or on understanding the world more deeply. It helps them feel closer to their beliefs, unburdened by worldly things. Here's an analogy to think about. Imagine you're trying to build a really tall tower out of blocks. You have so many blocks, all different sizes and colors. But the more blocks you have, the more time you spend sorting them, worrying about them falling, or trying to use every single one. Sometimes, if you just have a few carefully chosen blocks, you can build something strong and beautiful, and you can focus on the shape and design, not just the sheer number of blocks. In life, sometimes having fewer things, or less money to manage, lets you focus on what truly matters: your relationships, your health, your learning, your inner peace. It helps you see the important details instead of being overwhelmed by everything. It's not about judging people who have money or saying that everyone should give away everything they own. It's about a different kind of understanding. It's about recognizing that our value as people, our happiness, and our sense of purpose don't have to be tied to how much money we have in the bank. Sometimes, by letting go of the constant chase for more, we can find a deeper kind of freedom and a richer understanding of what life truly offers. It's a quiet idea, a gentle whisper that reminds us what truly enriches us might be found in unexpected places, far from the shine of gold. Have you ever wondered why people sometimes act in ways that don't make logical sense when it comes to money? Maybe they avoid stepping on cracks in the sidewalk, or they always pick up a coin that's face up. These kinds of actions are superstitions. They are old beliefs or practices that people follow, even if there's no real proof they work. It's like having a secret handshake with luck itself, hoping to invite good fortune or push bad luck away. So, here's the thing about superstitions. They usually grow out of a deep human need. For thousands of years, people didn't understand how the world worked. Why did some harvests fail and others succeed? Why did some families have plenty to eat and others starve? When things felt random and scary, people looked for patterns, for reasons. They wanted to feel like they had some control, even a little bit, and that's why they created rituals, signs, and beliefs. These gave them a sense of order in a world that often felt chaotic and unfair. It was a way to explain the unknown, to feel safer, to hope. Think about it like this. Imagine you have a really important test coming up at school. You've studied hard, you know your stuff. But on the morning of the test, you decide to wear your lucky shirt. Does that shirt magically make you smarter? No, it doesn't. But wearing it might make you feel more confident. It might calm your nerves. That feeling of confidence, that inner calm, can help you perform better. The shirt itself doesn't do anything, but your belief in it can change your mindset. That's a bit like how superstitions work with money. A lucky penny isn't going to make you rich, but the hope it brings might make you feel more optimistic, more willing to take a smart chance. This is what ancient people were doing. They were trying to tip the scales in their favor. If you find a certain kind of coin, or if you don't sweep dust out the door at night, maybe, just maybe, good fortune will come your way. These weren't silly ideas to them. They were serious attempts to influence their future. They were quiet whispers of hope against the loud roar of uncertainty. These beliefs were passed down through families, through communities, like stories told around a campfire, each one carrying a wish for a better tomorrow. And so, even today, these echoes of old beliefs still show up in how we think about money. We might not truly believe a black cat crossing our path means bad luck for our wallet, but a part of us still pauses. It's a reminder of our human desire for security, for abundance, for things to go well. Superstitions about money, in a strange way, connect us to all the people who came before us. People who also just wanted to feel a little more certain in an uncertain world. They teach us about hope, and about our deep need to feel like we have some power over our own fate, even when we don't. Have you ever wondered why some people keep a special coin in their pocket or a certain bill in their wallet, even if they never plan to spend it? It's not about needing the money for a purchase. It's about something deeper. Across many cultures, people believe that carrying certain money can bring good fortune. It's an idea that touches on our hopes for security, wealth, and a bit of luck in life. Think about it. Money is more than just pieces of paper or metal. It stands for possibilities. It means safety, freedom, and the chance to get what you need. So, it makes sense that humans, looking for a way to feel more secure or hopeful, would attach special meaning to money itself. They believe that by keeping a certain type of currency close, they are inviting good things into their lives. This isn't about greed. It's about a universal human desire for comfort and a smooth path forward. This isn't a new idea. For thousands of years, people have connected certain objects to luck or spiritual power. Long ago, people might have carried special stones or animal bones. As societies grew, and money became a big part of how we live, these beliefs shifted. Money, with all its power, started to be seen as a kind of charm itself. In some cultures, certain coins from a specific year are lucky. In others, a specific amount of money, like a dollar bill with a unique serial number, might be kept for good vibes. Even the color of a wallet can be important, with some colors like red or green believed to attract wealth. It's like these objects become symbols, quietly whispering promises of good things to come. Here's an idea that might help you understand it better. Imagine a basketball player who always wears the same pair of socks for every game. Do those socks have magic powers? No, not really. But the player believes they do. That belief makes them feel more confident, less nervous, and maybe even a little braver on the court. That feeling helps them play better. The socks didn't cause the win, but the belief in the socks changed the player's mindset, which then changed their performance. It's similar with carrying money for good fortune. The money itself isn't magic. It's just paper or metal. But the act of carrying it, the belief that it might bring something good, can change how a person feels. It can give them a quiet sense of hope or comfort. It can make them feel a bit more ready for whatever comes next. So, what seems like a simple old belief actually shows us something important about people. It shows how our minds work, how we seek out little bits of control in a big world, and how powerful our own beliefs can be. It reminds us that sometimes the greatest fortune isn't just what we have, but what we believe is possible. Have you ever stopped to think about where a government gets its money? Not just taxes, but the deeper idea of how this invisible thing, money, moves through a country's very heart. It's a bit like the flow of blood in a body, giving life and energy to everything. Here's the thing. Governments are like the biggest housekeepers in a country. They need money to keep things running. Think about your town's roads, the schools you attend, the parks where you play, or even the police and fire departments that keep everyone safe. All these things cost money. But where does it come from? The simplest answer is taxes. Every time someone buys something, earns money from a job, or owns property, a small part of that money often goes to the government. This is like everyone in a big family putting a small amount of their allowance into a shared jar. This shared jar of money then becomes the government's budget, but it's more complex than just collecting taxes. Governments also have the power to create money, usually through a central bank. This isn't like printing endless bills whenever they want. There are rules and reasons. Historically, money used to be linked to gold, meaning a country could only print as much money as the gold it had stored. But most countries today use what's called fiat money. This means its value comes from the government saying it has value, and from people trusting that it does. It's like a promise. This trust is really important. Sometimes, a government might need more money than it collects from taxes or creates. So, what happens then? They borrow it. They might borrow from other countries, or from their own citizens by selling what are called bonds. Think of a bond like an IOU. You lend the government money, and they promise to pay you back later, plus a little extra for your trouble. This is how many big projects, like building a new highway or funding an important research program, get started even when there isn't enough cash on hand. Imagine your school is planning a big field trip, but the current student fund isn't quite enough. The student council, acting like a mini-government, might decide to hold an extra fundraiser, like a bake sale. That's like taxes. Or, if they really need to, they might ask the principal for an advance, promising to pay it back from future fundraisers. That's like borrowing. The principal trusts them to pay it back because the school community works together. This whole system relies on trust and the idea that everyone benefits from a well-run system. The idea of money in government isn't just about numbers on a page. It's about how a community decides to share its resources, what it values, and what kind of future it wants to build together. When money flows well through a government, it can build bridges, fund new discoveries, and help people when they need it most. It reminds us that money, in its deepest sense, is a tool for collective action, a way for many individuals to work towards something bigger than themselves. Have you ever thought about how something as simple as money, or the lack of it, can create deep cracks in the strongest of bonds, like a family? It's a strange idea, isn't it? Money is just paper or numbers on a screen, but it holds a quiet power to cause conflict. It's not just about how much money there is. Often, it's about what money means to different people, or how they believe it should be used. For thousands of years, across different cultures, stories have been told about families broken apart by wealth or by ruin. Think about ancient times, when land was everything. A family's wealth was tied to their farm or their animals. Arguments over who inherited what, or who had to pay a debt, could split brothers and sisters who once shared everything. Even back then, people understood that money was more than just a way to buy things. It was connected to power, security, and a family's future. It exposed deep beliefs about fairness, trust, and responsibility. Sometimes, money acts like a magnifying glass. It makes small differences in how people think or feel become very large. Imagine a family as a team building a giant, detailed puzzle together. Each person has different pieces, and they might have different ideas about where each piece goes, or how quickly they should work. Now, imagine that some of the puzzle pieces are money. One person might want to save their pieces, another might want to spend them right away on new tools, and another might feel like they're doing all the work and not getting enough pieces. This isn't just about the pieces themselves. It's about the trust, the shared goals, and the feelings of being treated fairly. When a family faces money troubles, or even when they suddenly get a lot of money, it can feel like a heavy weight pressing down. Stress builds up. People might get scared, angry, or resentful. They might blame each other. Maybe one parent hides spending from the other, or siblings fight over a small inheritance, or children feel left out because of decisions made about money. These kinds of secrets and arguments can slowly wear away the trust that holds a family together. The silence around money can be just as damaging as the arguments. It's a quiet but deep lesson. Money isn't good or bad on its own. It's a tool, like a hammer or a pen. The way it's used, and the beliefs people hold about it, shape its power. Understanding that different people have different money beliefs, different ideas about saving, spending, sharing, or what money even means can help. Recognizing that disagreements often come from these hidden beliefs, rather than just the money itself, can be a first step towards healing. It reminds us that while money helps us live in the world, the real wealth of a family is always found in its connections, its kindness, and its willingness to talk openly, even about the hardest things. Think about this. What if the oldest stories, the quiet lessons passed down through time, hold the real secrets to having enough? Not just money, but enough peace, enough strength, enough wisdom. We often think about wealth as something new, something you go out and discover on your own. But what if a big part of it is actually something very old, waiting for us to listen? Here's the thing. Many cultures across history have understood a deep truth about money and life. They knew that the best advice often comes from those who have lived the longest. These aren't just old people. They are living libraries. They have seen different kinds of times. They have been through hard times and good times. They know what lasts and what fades away. They know the true cost of things, not just in dollars, but in effort, in time, and in personal peace. For thousands of years, people looked to their elders for guidance. Think about ancient villages where the oldest members would sit and share their experiences around a fire. Their stories weren't just entertainment. They were lessons. They were warnings. They were wisdom about how to survive, how to build community, how to manage resources when times were tough, and how to enjoy life when times were good. This isn't just about how things used to be. It's about a deeply human pattern. This long view, this understanding built over decades, is something you can't get from a quick search online. It's a knowledge that is carried in the very way they talk, in the quiet pauses, in their eyes, and that's why it matters. Imagine you want to learn how to fix something important, like a complex engine or a tricky computer problem. You could try to figure it out all by yourself, reading manuals and watching videos. But what if someone who had been fixing that exact thing for 50 years was right there? They could show you the shortcuts, the common mistakes, the little tricks that aren't written down anywhere. They've already made the mistakes, so you don't have to. Their wisdom isn't just theory. It's proven by years of real work. That's what it's like learning from elders about life, and yes, even about money. They've navigated recessions, changes in jobs, family needs, and they know the quiet lessons about patience, saving, and making do. So maybe the real secret to wealth isn't about chasing the newest trend or finding a quick fix. It's about remembering to look back. It's about spending time with those who have lived through more seasons than you. It's about listening deeply, with an open heart, to their stories, their warnings, their quiet advice. Because true wealth, the kind that lasts and brings real peace, often comes from building a life on wisdom, resilience, and a deep understanding of what it truly means to live well. And that wisdom often comes from those who have walked the path before you, waiting to share. So, perhaps the real treasure is simply to listen. Have you ever stopped to think about what money really is? Not just as coins or bills or numbers on a screen, but as something that shows who we truly are, deep inside. It's kind of like a special kind of test. Not a test with right or wrong answers you get in school, but one that reveals your character. Here's the thing. Money doesn't actually change people. It just makes them more of what they already are. If someone is kind and generous before they have a lot of money, they'll likely be even more kind and generous with it. But if someone is selfish or greedy, having more money can make those parts of them even bigger. It's like a powerful magnifying glass. It doesn't put new things inside you. It just makes what's already there much easier to see. For thousands of years, people have thought about this. Ancient thinkers, like the Greek philosopher Seneca, talked about how wealth could be a burden, not just a blessing. He believed that how you deal with money, whether you have a lot or a little, shows your true strength and wisdom. Many old stories and teachings from different cultures also talk about money as a tool. It's not good or bad on its own. It's what we do with it that matters. It's about the choices we make. Think about a time you had some money, maybe your allowance or money from a birthday. What did you do with it? Did you spend it all right away on something just for yourself? Did you save some for a bigger goal? Did you share some with a friend who needed it? Or maybe donate to a cause? Those small decisions about even small amounts of money can show a lot. It's like when you see a piece of metal. You can hit it with a hammer and it might bend or it might break. How it reacts shows what kind of metal it is. Is it strong and flexible, or is it brittle? Money is kind of like that hammer, or maybe the heat from a fire. It puts pressure on us, and how we react under that pressure reveals our inner makeup. Do we become more giving, more careful, more responsible, or do we become careless, self-centered, or dishonest? So, money isn't just about what you can buy. It's about what it reveals about you. It's about the kind of person you choose to be, whether you have a lot or a little. It shows your priorities. It shows your values. And understanding this can help us look at money not just as a way to get things, but as a quiet mirror reflecting the deepest parts of ourselves. It makes you think about who you want to be. How do you feel about asking a friend for money or lending it? It's more than just numbers, right? It feels like something bigger. Borrowing money seems simple at first glance. Someone needs cash, and someone else has it, so they lend it. But across the world, and throughout history, this act of borrowing and lending has always been a huge deal. It's not just about money changing hands. It's about trust, honor, and even a bit of fear. Think way back, long before banks or credit cards existed. If you needed something vital, maybe grain to plant your fields, or a tool to fix your roof, you'd ask a neighbor or someone in your village. This wasn't just a simple transaction. It was a serious promise. You were promising that you'd pay them back, perhaps with more grain after harvest, or by helping them with their own work later. Your word, your honor, was on the line. If you didn't pay back, it wasn't just losing money, it was losing your good name, your reputation in the community. It meant your word wasn't worth much, and people might not trust you again. Some old beliefs saw borrowing as incredibly risky, like stepping onto thin ice. For example, in ancient Rome, the rules were incredibly strict. If you borrowed too much money and couldn't pay it back, you could actually become a kind of slave to the person you owed the money to. Imagine that. Your freedom, your entire life, on the line for a debt. That's a deep, powerful reminder of how serious the act of borrowing was. Even in places without such harsh laws, the shame of not paying back was huge. It could ruin a family's standing, affecting them for generations. Think about a friendship. Imagine your best friend asks you to keep a really important secret, something personal. That's a huge kind of trust, isn't it? You're lending them your silence and your loyalty, hoping they trust you to hold on to their private thoughts. If you break that trust, if you tell the secret to someone else, it hurts the friendship deeply. It's not easy to fix what's broken. Borrowing money is a lot like that. When someone lends you money, they're not just handing you cash. They're giving you a piece of their trust. They're trusting that you're good for your word, that you'll do exactly what you said you'd do, and that you'll pay them back. If you don't pay them back, it's like breaking that secret. It feels like a betrayal, a deep disappointment. The money might be gone, but the trust, that invisible, valuable bond, is what truly gets damaged. And that's much harder to earn back. The quiet agreement between two people, one needing, one giving. It's a fragile thing, like a spider's silk thread, strong enough to hold, but easily broken if pulled too hard or neglected. And once broken, it's hard to weave back together. So, here's the thing about borrowing money. It's never just about the money itself. It's about the unseen threads that connect us. It's about how much we value our word and how much we value the word of others. Every time money is borrowed or lent, it's a quiet test of character. It asks us, can I be trusted? And can I trust you? It makes us think about responsibility, about what we owe not just in dollars, but in honesty and respect. It's a simple act with a deep, echoing importance. And that's why it matters so much. Across every culture, in every time. Have you ever thought about what it means to owe someone something? Maybe you borrowed a pencil and forgot to give it back. Or a friend loaned you money for snacks. That feeling, that little bit of knowing you need to pay back or return something, that's debt. But here's the thing. For a long time, across different cultures, debt hasn't just been about money or objects. It's been about something much deeper. In some ancient times, owing money could truly change your life. Not in a small way. People could become servants, or even be put in prison, all because of a debt they couldn't repay. Imagine that. The idea of owing someone wasn't just a financial problem. It was a mark on your honor, a stain on your family's name. It was a sign that you had failed, or that you couldn't be trusted. Because of this, many cultures held a very strong belief that you should avoid debt at all costs. It was seen as something that could trap you, taking away your freedom. But what about other places, other times? Some communities saw debt in a different light. They understood that sometimes people need help. A farmer might need to borrow seeds to plant his crops, promising to pay back with a share of the harvest. Here, debt wasn't a mark of shame. It was a thread, something that connected people. It built trust and showed that a community relied on each other. It was a promise, a bond that strengthened relationships. You helped someone when they needed it, and they would help you later. It was normal. It was a way of making sure everyone had what they needed to survive and thrive. So, you can see how debt could be viewed in two very different ways. A heavy chain that pulls you down, or a helpful rope that connects you to others. Today, in our world, debt is often just a part of everyday life. Most families have a mortgage to buy a home or car payments. We use credit cards, which are a form of debt, to buy things now and pay later. It seems normal. But even now, that old feeling of shame or worry can still exist. Think about a group project at school. Imagine your team has 4 members. Each of you agrees to do a certain part. If one person doesn't do their share, the others have to work extra to cover it. That's a kind of debt, isn't it? Not money, but a debt of effort, a debt of trust. The others might feel let down, and the one who didn't pull their weight might feel a little ashamed, even if it's never spoken aloud. It affects how the team sees them and how they see themselves. It reminds us that debt, even in small ways, touches on our reliability and our connection to others. So, debt isn't just about numbers on a page. It's woven into our history, our communities, and even our own feelings about ourselves. It asks us to consider what we value: independence or connection, self-reliance or mutual support. It's a quiet reminder that every promise, every loan, carries a weight, a story, and a reflection of what we believe about trust and responsibility in the human world. Have you ever stopped to think about banks? Those big buildings, often made of stone or glass, that hold our money. They seem so serious, so solid. But if you could visit banks in different countries, would they feel the same? Or would something about them be quietly, deeply different? Here's the thing about banks. On the surface, they all do similar jobs. They keep your money safe. They let you send money to other people. They lend money for big purchases, like a house. And they help businesses grow. That part, the basic mechanics, looks pretty much the same everywhere you go. A bank in New York, a bank in Tokyo, a bank in Nairobi, they all deal with deposits and withdrawals. But a bank is more than just a place to store cash. It's a very old idea, born from a deep human need: trust. Think about it this way. Thousands of years ago, people didn't have banks. If you had extra grain or tools, you might bury them, or ask a trusted neighbor to hold them. Later, temples or powerful merchants became places where people felt safe leaving their valuables. They were the first banks. People put their faith, their hope, and their hard work into these places, trusting that their wealth would be there when they needed it. So, a bank is really built on trust. And trust isn't just about rules, it's about feelings and beliefs. Here's a thought. Imagine your school. Everyone uses lockers. You trust that when you lock your backpack inside, it will be there at the end of the day. The school provides the lockers, and everyone pretty much believes they work. But what if, in some schools, people didn't really trust the locks? Or they worried someone might sneak a key? Or maybe in one school, it's considered very rude to even ask someone how much they have in their locker, while in another, sharing what's in your locker is a common way to build friendship. The lockers are the same, but the unspoken rules and the level of trust in the system or with other people can be very different. That's a bit like banks. In some cultures, people might prefer to keep their money physically close, maybe in their home, because they don't fully trust the big institutions. In others, putting all your savings in a bank is the most natural thing, a sign of a stable society. Some cultures might see borrowing money from a bank as perfectly normal, while others might view debt with a lot more worry or even shame. So, while the buildings might look similar and the services might sound alike, the true heart of a bank changes from place to place. It beats with the rhythm of a culture's beliefs about money, about security, about fairness, and most of all, about trust. They are not just places where money sits. They are quiet reflections of how people feel about their future and how much they believe in each other. And that's why they feel profoundly different, even when they look the same. Have you ever seen someone quickly put a coin away, maybe into a pocket or a small dish, instead of just leaving it on a table? It might seem like a small thing, but for some people around the world, how they handle money, especially coins, is really important. It's not just about keeping things tidy. It goes much deeper. For many cultures, placing coins directly on a table isn't seen as the right thing to do. It's about how they view money itself. It's seen as something that needs to be respected, almost treated with a certain care. It's not something you just leave lying around, like a used napkin or a forgotten pen. Think way back in time. Before banks and credit cards, money was very real and very physical. It was gold, silver, or copper. It was what you needed for food, for shelter, for everything you owned. So, money wasn't just a number in an account. It was a representation of hard work, of someone's energy, and of their life itself. If you had money, it meant you could survive. If you didn't, things were very hard. In many old traditions, leaving money exposed, especially small amounts like coins, might have felt like you were treating it carelessly. It was like saying, "This isn't important," when in truth, it was everything to your survival and well-being. Some cultures linked it to the idea of prosperity slipping away, or being left out in the open to be lost. It was a subtle way of protecting your financial future, a quiet prayer that good fortune would stay with you. It's a bit like how we treat other important things in our lives. Think about something you really value. Maybe it's a special drawing you made for someone, or your favorite video game console. Would you just leave it anywhere? Out in the rain? On the floor where it could get stepped on and broken? No, you'd probably put it in a safe place, right? On a shelf, in a case, somewhere it's protected and respected. You wouldn't want it to get damaged or lost. It's the same kind of feeling, but for money. Money, for many, is a tool for life. It helps you get what you need, learn new things, and care for your family. And a valuable tool needs a proper place, not just tossed aside on a table. Another way to think about it. Imagine you're drawing a very detailed picture. When you're done, you don't just leave your pencils and paper scattered everywhere. You put them away, perhaps in a special art box or a folder, ready for next time. You respect your tools and your craft. Money, for some, is like that. It's a vital part of what helps you create your life, and it needs a proper home, not just to be forgotten on a surface. So, when you see someone carefully put a coin away, it's not always about being superstitious or believing in magic. It's often about a deeper feeling. It's about respecting the effort it took to earn that money. It's about understanding that money, in all its forms, is part of our journey through life. And how we treat it shows how we value it, and maybe how we value the opportunities and stability it can help us achieve. It reminds us that even small things, like a single coin, can carry a lot of meaning. It's a quiet reflection on how we see prosperity and our place in the world. Have you ever stopped to think about what true wealth really is? Is it just about how much money you have? How many cool things you own? In many parts of Africa, people hold a very different idea about what it means to be rich. Here's the thing. For a long time, across many African cultures, wealth wasn't just about what you had for yourself. It was about who you were with and how you shared what you had with your community. Imagine living in a place where survival depended on everyone helping everyone else. If one family had a great harvest, they didn't just keep all the food. They shared it with neighbors who might not have had as much. If someone needed a house built, the whole village would come together to help. This wasn't just a nice thing to do. It was a way of life, built on a deep understanding of being connected. This way of thinking comes from centuries of communities working together. They understood that a person's well-being was tied to the well-being of the group. If your neighbor was struggling, eventually, you might struggle too. But if everyone was strong, then the whole community was strong. This deep idea is sometimes captured in a word you might have heard, Ubuntu. It's from Southern Africa, and it means something like, I am because we are. Think about that for a second. It's not just about me as a single person. It's about me as part of a bigger group. My existence, my happiness, my strength, they all come from my connection to others. It's like a puzzle. Each piece is important on its own, but it only truly makes sense and shows its beauty when it's connected to all the other pieces. Let's think about this with an example that might be closer to your own life. Imagine your school is putting on a big play. There are lots of jobs to do. Someone has to act. Someone builds the sets. Someone makes the costumes. And someone runs the lights. If only one person tries to do everything, the play won't be very good. But when everyone helps, using their different skills, the whole show becomes amazing. And when the audience claps, that success isn't just for one person. It's for the whole group. The joy of a successful play is shared by everyone involved, from the lead actor to the person who just helped move props. That shared success, that feeling of working together for something bigger, is like the wealth we're talking about. It's not about one person having all the applause. It's about the whole community shining together. So, this belief teaches us something really important. It reminds us that we are all tied together. Our lives are like threads in a huge, beautiful tapestry. Every thread is needed. When we share, when we support each other, we're not just giving something away. We are actually making ourselves stronger and making our community stronger too. It's about finding richness not just in what you own, but in how deeply you belong and how much you can contribute to the well-being of everyone around you. And that, maybe, is a kind of wealth that truly lasts. A kind of wealth that makes us feel truly human and connected. Have you ever had something really good happen to you? Maybe you got a new video game, or you aced a tough test. You feel great, right? But sometimes, a tiny thought might creep in. Should I tell everyone? What if someone gets jealous? This feeling, this quiet worry, touches on a very old idea from around the world, the evil eye. For thousands of years, in places like ancient Greece, Rome, and across the Middle East and India, people truly believed in the evil eye. It wasn't just a fairy tale. It was the idea that someone, perhaps without even meaning to, could look at your good fortune, your health, your beauty, or especially your money, with envy. And that powerful envy, that strong wish for what you have, could actually cause bad things to happen to you. It was like an invisible, negative energy beam shot from a jealous look. Think about it like this. Imagine you're shining a really bright flashlight. Everyone sees it. It's noticeable. Now, imagine your money or your good luck is that bright light. The evil eye belief suggests that when your light is too bright, too public, it draws attention. And not all attention is good. Some people might just be impressed, but others might feel a pang of jealousy. And that pang, that silent envy, was thought to be harmful. So, people would try to protect themselves and their wealth. They might wear special charms, like blue beads, or avoid showing off too much. It wasn't about someone actively trying to curse you, necessarily. Often, it was believed that the evil eye could be cast by accident, just by someone looking at your blessings with too much desire in their heart. If you had a lot of money, or a thriving farm, or beautiful children, you were seen as more vulnerable. People understood that human beings often compare themselves to others, and when someone else seems to have more, or seems luckier, it can spark a feeling inside us. Sometimes that feeling is admiration, but sometimes it's envy. Here's the thing. While we might not believe in magic evil eyes today, the idea still holds a quiet truth about human nature. It's like when a student in class gets a perfect score on a really hard math test. Everyone knows how smart they are. Most people are happy for them. But maybe one or two students who struggled might feel a tiny bit of envy, even if they don't mean to. That feeling, in a small way, is what the evil eye concept was built on. It's about how we deal with seeing other people's success and how we present our own. So, this ancient belief about the evil eye and your riches teaches us something important. It reminds us that our good fortune isn't just about us. It exists in a world shared with others. It makes us think about humility, about being careful with what we show, and about how we manage the feelings that success can bring, both our own feelings and the feelings of those around us. It's a quiet reminder to be mindful, not just of what we have, but also of the invisible currents of human emotion that flow between us all. Have you ever thought about why some people, or even whole groups of people, choose not to show off what they have? Not just money, but anything valuable? It's a strange idea, maybe, in a world that often celebrates showing off success. But here's the thing. In many cultures, keeping wealth hidden isn't about shame. It's often about something much deeper: protection, humility, and keeping the peace. Imagine a time, long ago, when there weren't banks on every corner or police forces everywhere. If you had a lot of gold or good land, you were a target. Bandits, rival tribes, even powerful rulers might try to take it from you. So, showing off what you had was like putting a big sign on your door saying, "Come and get it." It was just safer to keep your resources quiet, to blend in, to not draw attention to yourself or your family. This wasn't just in ancient times. Even in places that are still developing today, or in communities facing hardship, keeping a low profile can be a smart way to stay safe. But it's not just about physical safety. There's also a powerful belief in something called the evil eye in many parts of the world. It's an idea that if someone looks at your good fortune with envy or jealousy, it can actually bring bad luck or harm to you. It's like their negative feelings, even if they don't mean to, can cause problems. So, if you act too flashy, if you display your wealth too openly, you might be inviting this kind of invisible harm. It encourages people to be humble, to avoid boasting, and to remember that good fortune can be fleeting. This idea of humility isn't just about avoiding bad luck. It's also a deep-seated value in itself. In some cultures, especially those with strong community ties, individual display can be seen as breaking the harmony of the group. If one person shows off too much, it might make others feel bad or cause resentment. It's about valuing the we over the me. They believe that everyone benefits when people are modest and share what they have, rather than showing off individual riches. It's a way of saying, we are all in this together, even if some have more than others. Think about it like this. You might have a really special secret spot where you hide your favorite things, a diary, a lucky charm, or maybe even your best video game strategy. You don't tell everyone about it, right? Why? Maybe because you want to protect it, or keep it safe, or maybe you just want to keep that special feeling to yourself. It's not because you're ashamed of it. It's because it's valuable to you and you want to control who knows about it. Hiding wealth can be like that. It's a way of protecting what's important, not just from thieves, but from envy, from expectations, or from unwanted attention that could disturb your peace. So, when we see cultures that keep their wealth quiet, it's not always about being poor or stingy. It's a quiet strength, a wisdom passed down through generations. It reminds us that real value isn't always what you can see or show off. Sometimes, the most important things, like security, peace, and strong community bonds, are found in what is kept hidden, protected, and shared only with true care. It's a different way of understanding what it means to be rich, a way that often values inner peace and community harmony above all else. Have you ever seen someone with a really expensive phone or a brand new pair of sneakers? Maybe you wondered, why do they want everyone to see it? Or maybe you felt a little jealous, or even admired it. This idea of showing off money is something people have thought about for a very long time. It's not just about huge houses or fancy cars, though those are definitely ways people do it. Showing off money can be quieter too. It can be wearing certain brands, talking about expensive trips, or even just making sure others know what you bought. It's about letting the world see your wealth or the things money can buy. Here's the thing. What does it mean when we show off what we have? And what does it mean for us and for others? For thousands of years, people have shown their wealth. Think about ancient kings. They wore crowns made of gold and jewels. They built giant palaces. They had lots of servants and big armies. This wasn't just because they liked shiny things. It was a way to say, I am powerful. I am important. I have control. Showing off wealth was a clear sign of who was in charge and who had resources. It showed strength and status. In some cultures, showing wealth might mean giving away gifts at a big celebration. It was a way to show you were generous and had enough to share. In other places, just owning many things, like cattle or land, was the point. It proved your place in the community. So, the idea of showing off money isn't new. It's a very old part of how humans try to understand each other and their place in the world. But here's a thought. Think about a peacock. A male peacock has those huge, colorful feathers. He spreads them out, right? He's not just doing it because they're pretty. He's saying to other peacocks, look at me. I'm healthy. I'm strong. He's trying to get attention and show he's a good choice for a mate. Humans can be a bit like that, but with money and things. We might wear a new jacket or talk about a cool trip, not just because we enjoyed it, but because we want others to see it. We hope they might think something positive about us, like we're successful or cool. So, is showing off money good or bad? It's not a simple yes or no answer. Sometimes, showing what you have can inspire others. It can show what's possible. It can also make someone feel proud of what they've earned. But other times, it can make people feel left out. It can make others feel like they're not enough or that they don't have as much. It might even lead to jealousy or hurt feelings. This makes us think about what we truly value. Is it what we own? Or is it who we are? And what message are we really sending when we choose to show off? What feeling are we hoping to get from others? Money is a tool, a symbol. What we do with it, and how we present it to the world, says a lot about our own beliefs and what we think matters most in life. Have you ever stopped to think about how money, something so practical, connects with something as deeply emotional as marriage? It feels like love should be all that matters when two people decide to spend their lives together. But when we look across different cultures and through history, we find that money and marriage are often tied together in surprising, important ways. Marriage, at its core, is a partnership. And partnerships, whether in business or in life, often involve shared resources. For centuries, And still in many places today, getting married wasn't just about finding a soulmate. It was also about combining families, joining lands, or securing a future. Money, or what it could buy, like land, livestock, or security, played a big part in these unions. Think about ancient times, or even just a few hundred years ago. In many cultures, there was a tradition called a dowry. This was money, property, or goods that the bride's family gave to the groom or his family when they got married. It was meant to help the new couple start their life, or sometimes it was seen as the bride's share of her family's wealth. It also showed the groom that her family was serious and had resources. Then there's the bride price, common in other cultures. Here, the groom or his family would pay money or give goods to the bride's family. This wasn't about buying the bride. It was more like a show of appreciation for her family, a way to make up for the loss of her help in their home, and a sign of the groom's ability to provide. These traditions might seem strange to us now, but they made a lot of sense in their time. They were ways to ensure stability, to show commitment, and to form strong bonds between families. It was like a social contract written in goods and gold. It tells us that marriage was often a financial agreement as much as a romantic one. Imagine you and a friend are working on a big school project together. Maybe it's a science fair project that needs special materials, or a group presentation where everyone needs to contribute. You both bring different skills, different ideas, and maybe even different resources. Like one person has a laptop, the other has art supplies. To make the project successful, you have to talk about these things. You have to decide who brings what, how you'll share the workload, and how you'll combine your efforts. If one person doesn't pull their weight, or if resources aren't shared fairly, the project suffers. Marriage is a bit like that, but on a much bigger, lifelong scale. It's about two people bringing their whole lives, including their money, their debts, their earning potential, and deciding how to combine them to build a shared future. It's about trusting each other with those things. So, when we look at these old traditions, or even how modern couples talk about money, we see something deeper. Money in marriage isn't just about bills and budgets. It's about trust. It's about vulnerability. It's about how two people decide to share everything, not just their feelings, but also their financial well-being, their dreams for the future, and their responsibilities. Understanding this connection helps us see that these traditions, no matter how old or different, reflect a universal human need to create a stable, secure partnership built on shared commitment. It reminds us that truly joining lives means understanding all the pieces that make up those lives, including the often hidden role of money. Have you ever thought about money in terms of time? Like, not just how much money someone has, but how long they've had it. It might sound strange, but in some ways, money can feel old or new. This isn't about the age of the actual coins or bills. It's about where the wealth came from and how long it's been in a family. Old money usually refers to wealth that has been passed down through generations. Think of families who have been wealthy for a very long time, maybe hundreds of years. Their money often comes from things like land, inherited businesses, or investments made a long time ago. It's stable, established wealth. People with old money often value tradition, reputation, and a quiet, steady way of life. They might not talk much about their wealth. It's just part of their history. Then there's new money. This is wealth that's been earned more recently, usually in 1 or 2 generations. Think of someone who started a hugely successful tech company, or an athlete who signed a massive contract. They became rich very quickly. New money often comes from innovation, hard work, and sometimes a lot of risk. People with new money might be seen as more interested in showing off their success because they built it from scratch. They might value achievement and new ideas more than tradition. This idea of old money versus new money isn't really new. It's been around for centuries in many different cultures. In places like Old England or France, social standing was often tied to how long your family had owned land or had a certain title. Someone whose family had been noble for generations was seen differently from someone who just bought their way into wealth. The old money families often had a certain way of doing things, a set of manners, and a network of powerful friends that new money people didn't have right away. It wasn't just about the amount of money, but the history behind it. It's about social class. and how societies judge wealth not just by its amount, but by its origin and age. People sometimes connect old money to stability and inherited power, while new money connects to ambition and change. Think of it like trees in a forest. An old money family might be like a giant, ancient oak tree. It's been there for hundreds of years. Its roots run deep. It's seen many seasons come and go. It's sturdy, reliable, and part of the unchanging landscape. Its value is recognized, not just for its size, but for its age and the history it represents. People know it's always been there, steady and strong. Now, a new money family could be like a very fast-growing bamboo plant. Bamboo shoots up incredibly quickly, reaching impressive heights in a short amount of time. It's dynamic, exciting, and represents rapid growth and new possibilities. It's valuable for its speed and its ability to adapt and expand quickly, but it hasn't had the same long, slow journey of the oak tree. Both are valuable, but in different ways. One is about endurance and deep roots, the other about rapid growth and fresh beginnings. So, when we talk about old money and new money, we're not saying one is better than the other. Both have their own story, their own strengths, and their own place in the world. It makes us think about what we value. Is it stability and history, or is it innovation and quick success? It also reminds us that money, no matter how it's earned or how long it's been around, is just one part of a person's story. What truly matters is how people use their resources and the values they carry, whether their wealth is ancient like an oak or as fresh as a new shoot. What if money wasn't just about how much you have or what you can buy? What if, sometimes, it could be like a whisper to the universe, a message sent out with a deep hope or a quiet thank you? This might sound a little strange, but in many parts of the world, and for a long, long time, giving money has been much more than just a transaction. It's been seen as an act of prayer. Here's the thing. When we think of prayer, we often picture someone kneeling or speaking words. But prayer, at its heart, is about intention. It's about putting your focus, your energy, and your belief into something bigger than yourself. It's about connecting with a higher power, or with your deepest values, or even just with the well-being of others. And when you give money with this kind of deep intention, it really does change. It stops being just paper or coins. It becomes a symbol of your hope, your gratitude, or your desire for good things to happen. Think about people from ancient times, or even today in many cultures. For thousands of years, people have offered gifts, sometimes money, to temples, churches, or community funds. They didn't do it because they had to, not always. They did it as a way to show respect. They did it to express thanks for a good harvest, or to ask for help during tough times. It was a way to say, I believe, or I hope for this, or I am grateful. This idea is woven into the history of many major religions. In Islam, there's zakat, a required giving that helps those in need, and it's a spiritual duty. In Buddhism, generosity, called dana, is a core practice. Christians often give tithes, which means giving a part of their earnings. For all these groups, the act of giving is not just charity. It's a spiritual practice. It connects the giver to their faith, to their community, and to a sense of purpose. It's a bit like this. Imagine you're a young scientist, and you're working on a big project. Maybe you want to find a cure for a disease, or figure out how to make clean energy. You put all your time, all your effort, and all your passion into that work. You're not just moving chemicals around. You're doing it with a deep hope for a breakthrough, a profound desire to help the world. That dedication, that focused energy, that's what we're talking about. When you give money, even a small amount, to a cause you truly believe in, or to someone you deeply want to help, you're doing something similar. You're pouring your hope and intention into that act. You're not just handing over cash. You're sending out a clear message about what you value, what you wish for, or what you're thankful for. So, when giving money becomes a prayer, it's not about magic. It's about remembering that even something as simple as a dollar bill can hold profound meaning. It's a quiet recognition that our actions, big or small, carry energy. It helps us feel more connected, not just to the people we help, but to a larger sense of humanity and purpose. It shows us that money doesn't just buy things. It can also build bridges. express gratitude, and even offer a silent request for a better world. And that's why it matters. It reminds us that our hearts and intentions can turn everyday actions into something truly sacred. Have you ever thought about numbers? Not just for math class, but in a deeper way. Do you have a favorite number? Maybe one that feels special to you? In many cultures around the world, people believe certain numbers can bring good luck, especially when it comes to money. It's a belief rooted deeply in human history, connecting fortune with specific digits. Think about it this way. For centuries, humans have looked for patterns. We want to understand the world, even the parts that seem random, like luck or how money comes to us. So, we find meaning in numbers. This idea isn't just silly superstition. It's actually a way our minds try to make sense of things, to feel a bit more in control in a big, unpredictable world. Take the number 8, for example. In many Asian cultures, especially in China, the number 8 is considered incredibly lucky for money. The word for 8 sounds a lot like the word for getting rich or prosperity. So people will go out of their way to have 8s in their phone numbers, their addresses, or even the price of something they sell. If you see a business with 888 in its name, it's often because they believe it brings financial success. Here's the thing. It's not that the number itself makes money appear. It's more about the powerful belief attached to it. People feel more confident, more hopeful, and maybe they even work harder because they believe luck is on their side. This is a bit like how a basketball player might always wear the same pair of socks for a game. Do the socks really make them play better? No, not really. But the player believes they do. That belief gives them a mental edge, a feeling of security. It helps them focus. And sometimes, that mental boost is all you need to perform better. So, when people choose a lucky number for money, they're often giving themselves that same kind of mental boost. The idea of lucky numbers goes way back. Ancient thinkers, like the Greek philosopher Pythagoras, believed numbers held hidden truths about the universe. They saw patterns in everything, from music to the stars, and if numbers govern the cosmos, couldn't they also influence our everyday lives, including our wealth? This kind of thinking made numbers seem powerful, almost magical. So, while a number itself can't hand you a pile of cash, the belief in its power can change how you think and act. It's about the hope, the intention, and the comfort we find in symbols. It makes us pause and reflect on how much our minds truly shape our experience of the world, even our experience of luck and money. Perhaps then, the real lucky number isn't a digit at all, but the human capacity to believe in something good, to look for fortune, and to create it with our own positive outlook. Have you ever had a day where things just felt off? Maybe you spilled your drink, missed your bus, or forgot your homework. Sometimes it feels like some days are just not meant for certain things. Well, here's the thing. Across many cultures, people have long believed that certain days are simply unlucky for dealing with money. Not just for big things, like buying a house, but even for small things, like lending a friend a few dollars, or starting a new savings account. This idea might seem strange to us now. Why would a day of the week have anything to do with money? But if you look back in history, you see how these beliefs grew. Imagine people living long ago, before banks and computers. Their lives were deeply connected to nature's rhythms. The moon, the sun, the seasons. Farmers knew when to plant and when to harvest. Sailors knew when the tides were right. Over time, people started noticing patterns. Maybe every time they tried to sell something on a certain day, it didn't go well, or a business deal always seemed to fall apart on another day. These observations, mixed with ancient beliefs about stars, spirits, and numbers, slowly created traditions. Some cultures might say never start a new business on a Monday because it's a day for beginnings, but a slow, heavy one. Others might avoid making big payments on a Tuesday, linking it to a god of war, suggesting conflict or loss. Friday the 13th, in Western cultures, is famous for being unlucky, and this feeling often spills over into money matters. People might avoid making big purchases or investments. In some places, specific days of the month are seen as bad luck, perhaps tied to ancient calendars or even the movement of planets. It's not about magic. It's more about a feeling that some energies just don't mix well with money on those days. Think about it this way. Imagine your favorite sports team has a lucky pre-game routine. Maybe they always eat the same meal or listen to the same song. Does that routine actually make them play better? Not directly, but believing in it can make them feel more confident, more prepared, and that feeling helps them play better. It's kind of like that with unlucky money days. If people believe a day is bad for money, they might be extra careful or even avoid important money tasks altogether. And that caution or avoidance can then shape what happens. If you believe you'll have bad luck, you might even look for bad luck, noticing every small problem and blaming the day. It's a bit like how our minds create their own reality sometimes. Our brains love patterns, even if those patterns are just in our heads. So, what do these beliefs tell us? They show how much we want to understand and control our world, especially when it comes to something as important and sometimes stressful as money. Money isn't just numbers. It's about our safety, our dreams, and our future. When things feel uncertain, we look for ways to feel more secure, even if it's by following an old tradition about which day to handle money. It reminds us that our feelings and beliefs, even very old ones, deeply shape how we see the world and handle our lives. And that's why it matters. It's a quiet nod to the idea that some things are beyond our immediate control, and sometimes a little caution or even just a moment of reflection can bring a sense of peace when facing the unknown. Have you ever wondered why you feel a certain way about money, even if you don't quite know why? Maybe you're really good at saving, or maybe you find it hard to hold on to cash. Here's the thing. Some of these feelings, these ways of thinking about money, might not have started with you. They could be quiet echoes from your ancestors. Think about it like this. Long before you were born, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, they lived through different times. They faced big challenges. Some lived when money was very scarce, perhaps during a war or when jobs were hard to find. Others might have experienced sudden wealth or belonged to cultures where sharing everything was most important. These experiences, good and bad, shaped their beliefs about money. They formed habits, ideas, and even fears around it. And guess what? These beliefs and habits don't just vanish when a generation passes. They can be passed down, often without anyone saying a word. It's not a secret message. It's more subtle. It's in the way your family talks about money, or doesn't talk about it. It's in the quiet actions they take. Maybe your grandmother always reused old jars. Maybe your great-uncle always stressed about debt. These things create a kind of family money story that you learn just by growing up in that environment. Here's an example. Imagine a family lived through a very tough time, like the Great Depression. Food was scarce. Money was almost impossible to find. People learned to save every crumb, to mend every piece of clothing, to make everything last. They taught their children, perhaps not with words, but with their actions, that waste was bad and saving was key to survival. Now, jump ahead a few generations to you. You might find yourself naturally wanting to save everything, even when you have plenty. Or you might feel anxious about spending, even on things you need. This feeling isn't random. It could be an echo of that tough time, a lesson learned deeply by those who came before you. It's like a quiet whisper from the past, guiding some of your choices today. This isn't about blaming anyone or feeling stuck. This is about understanding. It's like discovering why a river flows a certain way. The path it takes today was carved by the land long ago, by the rains and the rocks. You are like that river. Your path is influenced by the landscape of your family's past. But here's what's really important. You also have the power to choose your own current. You can notice these quiet influences. You can decide if you want to follow the same flow, or if you want to carve a new path, maybe a wider, calmer one. Your ancestors set a foundation, but you get to build your own unique story on top of it. It's a chance to thoughtfully shape your own future, carrying wisdom from the past, but also creating new possibilities for yourself. Have you ever stopped to really think about how money feels? Not just the paper or the metal, but the actual feeling you get when you hold it, or when you think about it. It's more than just a tool for buying things. For many people, across different cultures and times, money carries a kind of energy. It's almost like it has a spirit or a life of its own. Here's the thing. This idea suggests that money isn't just dead stuff. it's active. It picks up on our feelings and our intentions. If you earn money with joy and purpose, people believe it carries that positive energy. If it comes from struggle or feelings of fear and lack, it might carry a different kind of energy. This isn't about magic, but about how our own minds and feelings shape our world and our relationship with money. Think about it this way. For centuries, cultures have had special rituals or beliefs around money. Some would treat it with great respect, almost like a living thing. They'd keep it in special places or say blessings over it. They believed that if you honored money, it would be more likely to stay and grow. This wasn't because the money itself had eyes and ears. It was because these actions changed the person's own attitude towards money. And that attitude, they believed, affects how money flows in and out of their lives. It's like putting good vibes out there. Consider an everyday example. A song. A song is just sounds, right? But some songs make you feel happy, others make you feel sad, and some make you want to dance. The sound waves themselves are neutral, but the way they are put together, the words, the rhythm, it all creates a feeling, an energy. Money, in this way of thinking, is similar. It's a medium, a channel. And what we pour into that channel, our beliefs, our emotions, our actions, affects the kind of energy it carries. Imagine walking into a room. You might instantly feel if the mood is tense or joyful, even if no one says a word. That's a kind of energy. Money is like that room. When you interact with it, whether you're earning it, spending it, or saving it, you're either adding to its joyful energy or its tense energy, based on your own feelings. And that's why it matters. This deep belief invites us to pause. It asks us to consider our own feelings about money. Do we see it as a burden, a source of stress, or as something that can help us create good things in the world? Because in this view, how we feel about money isn't just a personal emotion. It's actually shaping the very energy of money in our lives. So, what kind of energy are you putting into your relationship with money? What kind of energy do you want it to carry for you? It's a quiet thought to ponder. Is being poor a choice? It's a really big question, and it's one people have asked for a long time. When we think about choices, we usually mean the things we decide to do, like choosing what to eat for lunch or what movie to watch. But money, and how much of it someone has, feels different, doesn't it? For some, it might seem simple. If you work hard, you get rich. If you don't, you stay poor. But here's the thing. The world is much more complicated than that. It's not just about individual decisions. It's about a mix of many different things. Think about history for a moment. For thousands of years, most people were poor. They lived off the land, growing just enough food to survive. There wasn't much extra to go around. And even when society started to grow, like in old kingdoms or empires, only a very small number of people were truly wealthy. Most others worked hard, sometimes from dawn till dusk, just to make ends meet. Was that their choice? Or was it just the way society was set up back then? Philosophers, people who think deeply about life, have looked at this. Some believe that everyone has the chance to make their own way. Others say that the world we're born into, the family we have, the place we live, these things play a huge part. It's like being born into a race where some people start at the very beginning of the track, and others start way behind, even before the gun fires. It's not about how fast you can run when you get the chance. It's about where you start. Consider a big board game, like Monopoly. When you start the game, everyone gets the same amount of money. Everyone has the same chance to buy properties. But what if, before the game even began, some players secretly got extra money? Or what if some players had all the best properties handed to them for free, while others started with none? And what if some players had rules that made it harder for them to earn money, or easier for them to lose it? That's kind of how life can be. We often talk about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, meaning to succeed by your own effort. But what if you don't even have boots? Or what if your boots are stuck in mud? It's not that effort doesn't matter. It matters a lot. But the starting line, the rules of the game, and even the weather on the day of the race, all these things affect the outcome. So, is being poor a choice? It seems the answer isn't a simple yes or no. It's more like a complex puzzle with many pieces. Some pieces are the choices we make every day, but other pieces are much bigger. The history of our families, the town or country we live in, the chances we are given or not given. It reminds us that empathy is important. It means trying to understand what someone else is going through, even if it's very different from our own experience. It helps us see that behind every person's situation, there's a unique story, shaped by many things, not just one. And understanding this can help us be more thoughtful, more kind, and more curious about the world around us. Have you ever stopped to think about money, not just as something for you right now, but for people who aren't even here yet? It's a pretty deep idea, right? We often see money as a personal thing, something we earn, save, and spend. But here's the thing. Our choices with money can ripple out, touching lives far beyond our own, long into the future. Think about it this way. Every penny spent, every dollar saved, every investment made, shapes the world that future generations will inherit. It's not just about how much money they'll have, but what kind of planet they'll live on, what opportunities will be open to them, and what problems they'll face. Your choices today, even small ones, contribute to the bigger picture for tomorrow. Many old cultures had a different way of looking at things than we do now. They understood this idea very deeply. For example, some Native American tribes had a powerful concept called 7 generations thinking. When they made important decisions about their land, their resources, or their way of life, they weren't just thinking about themselves or their children. They were asking, how will this choice affect my great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren? It meant looking far ahead, knowing that what they did today would echo for a very long time. This wasn't just about money, but it certainly included how they used their resources, which is a kind of wealth. They understood their role as guardians, not just owners. It's a bit like planting a tree. Imagine you plant a tiny sapling today in your backyard. It's small, maybe not very impressive. You might not live long enough to sit under its full, leafy shade. You might not eat the fruit it eventually produces. But someone will. Maybe your own kids, or their kids, or even strangers who live in that house years from now. They will benefit from the clean air it provides, the cool shade it offers, the food it grows. Your act of planting today is a gift to an unknown future. Our money choices can be like that tree. When we choose to save resources, or support things that make the planet healthier, or invest in education, we are planting trees for the future. We're not just thinking about our own bank account balance. We're thinking about the kind of world we want to leave behind. It's a quiet act of care, a promise to those who will come after us. It means understanding that we are part of a very long story, and our part matters. Our decisions today, big or small, are threads in the fabric of tomorrow. They build a legacy, not of things, but of possibilities. Have you ever stopped to think about what the word beggar really means? When we see someone asking for money, maybe on a street corner, we often think about their need. We might feel pity, or sometimes even a little uncomfortable. But here's the thing. In some parts of the world, and in some old traditions, the idea of someone asking for help is seen in a completely different way. It's not just about who is poor or who needs money. It's also about what the act of giving means for the person doing the giving. Think about it this way. In many ancient cultures, especially those with deep spiritual beliefs, the person who asks for charity isn't always seen as just someone who has failed. Sometimes, they are seen as providing an opportunity for others to practice kindness, to share their wealth, and even to gain good fortune or spiritual blessings. For example, in cultures influenced by Buddhism or Hinduism, monks and holy people often live by receiving alms, which means donations of food or money. They don't usually work in regular jobs. Instead, they walk with their bowls, and people give to them. This isn't seen as begging in a shameful way. For the person giving, it's an important act of dana, or generosity. They believe that by giving freely, they are doing something good for their own spirit, earning merit for their future. The monk, in a way, is a vessel, a living chance for people to be generous. They make it possible for others to grow spiritually. It's kind of like this. Imagine your school holds a food drive for a local shelter. The shelter needs food, right? But the act of collecting and giving food also helps you. It makes you feel good to help. It teaches you about community. The people at the shelter, by needing food, are giving you and your classmates a chance to be good citizens and feel positive emotions. They aren't begging from you in a bad way. They are allowing you to be part of something meaningful. This perspective shifts everything. It's not just about who lacks something. It's about who offers a chance for someone else to show their best self. The person receiving isn't just taking. They are also, in a way, giving. They are giving the giver a path to demonstrate compassion, to share, and to connect with something larger than themselves. So, when we look at someone asking for help through this lens, it changes our view. It reminds us that beliefs about money, about helping, and about how people fit into society are not the same everywhere. It makes us think deeper about our own understanding of what it means to give and what it means to receive. It shows us that every exchange, even a simple act of charity, can hold a much deeper meaning than we first imagine. Have you ever wondered why some people, in different parts of the world, or even right next door, absolutely refuse to lend money? It's a deep question, more than just about cash. For many, the act of lending money isn't just a simple exchange. It's tied to something much bigger: trust, honor, and the delicate balance of human relationships. Here's the thing. When you lend money, you're not just giving someone a certain amount of dollars or pesos or yen. You're also giving a piece of your financial well-being, and often, a piece of your peace of mind. And if that money isn't returned, or if it causes problems, it can break more than just a bank account. It can break a friendship, a family tie, or even a community bond. Think about how things used to be a long, long time ago. Before banks and credit cards, before easy ways to track every dollar, in older times, communities were very tight-knit. People relied on each other for everything. If you needed help, you'd ask a neighbor or a family member. And if they helped you, there was an unwritten understanding that you'd help them back someday. So, lending something, whether it was food, tools, or even early forms of money, wasn't just a business deal. It was a promise, a personal bond. Breaking that promise wasn't just about losing money. It was about losing face, losing honor, and perhaps being cast out from the group. That's why lending could be a very risky business for your reputation and your place in the community. Imagine you have a very special, one-of-a-kind art project you've worked on for months. It's fragile, and it means a lot to you. Now, a friend asks if they can borrow it just for a little while to show someone. You might hesitate, not because you don't trust your friend, but because you know how fragile your creation is. You worry it might get damaged, even by accident. And if it does, it's not just the project that's broken. It's the feeling you get when you look at it, and maybe a little bit of how you feel about your friend, even if you try not to. That feeling of worry, the risk of something irreplaceable being damaged, is a bit like the feeling some people have about lending money. It's a fear of losing something more valuable than the money itself, a relationship, or the peace that comes from not having that kind of worry. So, for some, choosing not to lend money isn't about being unkind or selfish. Sometimes, it's a quiet way of protecting something even more precious than wealth. It's about guarding the delicate threads of trust that hold people together, and understanding that some things, once broken, are very hard to put back together again. It's a deep belief that some relationships are simply too valuable to put a price tag on, or to risk with a debt. Have you ever really stopped to think about what money actually is? It's not just paper, right? Or numbers on a screen. When we imagine having more of it, what are we truly imagining? Is it the money itself? Or what that money could help us do, or become, or feel? Here's the thing. Money, at its core, is tied to our hopes. It's a tool, yes, but it's also a powerful symbol. It represents the possibilities we dream of for the future. We often want money not for what it is, but for what it can do. It helps us reach out for the things we wish for, like safety, comfort, new experiences, or even the chance to help others. Think back a long, long time ago. People traded things. If you grew apples and someone else had wool, you'd trade. But what if you wanted something the wool person didn't have? Or what if you needed to save up for something big, like a new home, and you couldn't carry enough apples to trade? This is where the idea of money started. It became a way to store value. It became a promise that your hard work, or your apples, could be turned into anything you needed later. In a way, money became a physical representation of future hope. It's how people started to plan for what they wanted next. Philosophers, people who think deeply about life, might say that money is like a blank canvas. You can use it to paint whatever future you hope for. It doesn't have its own desires. It just sits there, waiting for your desires to bring it to life. Here's an analogy that might help. Imagine money like the energy stored in a battery. A battery by itself doesn't do anything. It's just a thing. But when you put it into a remote control, or a flashlight, or a video game controller, that stored energy makes something happen. It powers a light, it moves characters on a screen, it changes channels. Money is kind of like that battery. Your effort, your time, your skills, you charge the battery with those things. And then, you use that charged battery to power your hopes. If you hope to go on a trip, the money you save is the stored energy that makes that trip possible. If you hope to learn a new skill, that money helps pay for the lessons. It's not the trip itself or the skill, but it's the energy that gets you there. So, money isn't just about what you have in your pocket or bank account. It's deeply connected to what you hope for, what you dream of, and what kind of future you want to build. It's a reflection of our deepest intentions. It reminds us that our true treasures are often the dreams we carry inside. And money is just one of the many ways we try to bring those dreams to life. It's a quiet reminder that what we truly chase isn't paper, but the feeling, the experience, the security, or the good we believe it can help us create. Have you ever stopped to think about what money actually is? Not just bills and coins, but what it means to us? It's a strange thing, isn't it? Sometimes it feels like the whole world revolves around it. But here's a deeper idea. Money is just a tool. It's not a master, and it shouldn't be the boss of your life. Think about it like this. A hammer is a tool. You use it to build things, to fix things. It's useful, very useful. But you wouldn't let the hammer tell you what to do, would you? You wouldn't let it decide your feelings or your goals. Money is similar. It's a way to get things done, to help us live our lives. But it's not the goal itself. It's just a way to reach goals. For a long, long time, even before paper money existed, people thought about this. Ancient thinkers, like the Stoics from Greece, believed that true freedom came from within. They taught that we shouldn't let things outside of us, like possessions or how much money we have, control our happiness or our peace of mind. They knew that if you put too much importance on outside things, you become a slave to them. Money, in their view, was definitely an outside thing. It was something useful, sure, but it wasn't the source of a good life. They saw it as something to be managed, not worshipped. Here's an example we can all relate to. Think about a car. A car is an amazing tool. It helps you get to school, visit friends, go on trips. It gives you freedom to move. But what if all you ever did was worry about your car? What if you spent all your time just polishing it, thinking about how fancy it is, or comparing it to other people's cars? What if you were always stressed about how much gas it used, or how expensive it was to fix? Then the car stops being just a tool that serves you. It starts to feel like a master, controlling your thoughts and feelings. Money can be exactly like that car. It can help you move forward, help you experience things. But if you let it fill your mind with worry, greed, or endless comparisons, then you're letting the tool become the master. So, the next time you see money, remember it's just that, a tool. It's there to help you build a good life, to help you support your dreams and the people you care about. But it's not what defines you. It doesn't decide your worth. The real richness in life isn't found in what you own, but in who you are, what you learn, and how you connect with the world. Keeping money in its place, as a helpful servant rather than a demanding boss, can bring a quiet kind of freedom and peace. Have you ever looked closely at how things change? Not just the seasons, but bigger things, like how a neighborhood can change over many years, or how a family's luck can seem to rise and fall. It makes you wonder, why do some people seem rich one day, and then not so much the next? And why does it feel like this happens again and again? Here's the thing. Money and the power it brings often moves in cycles. Think of it like a quiet, steady rhythm. It's not fixed, it flows. Sometimes it flows towards certain people, families, or even whole countries. And then, over time, it can flow away, or somewhere else. This isn't just about winning or losing. It's a deeper truth about how wealth works in the world. It's rarely still. People have noticed this for a very long time. If you look back through history, you'll see it everywhere. Great empires that once held vast riches eventually faded. Powerful royal families, who had everything, found their fortunes changing, sometimes over just a few generations. Even wise thinkers from ancient times wrote about how all things in life rise and fall, like the tide. They understood that nothing, not even great wealth, lasts forever in exactly the same way. It shifts, it transforms, it moves on. It's part of the human story, a pattern as old as time itself. Think of it like a pendulum swinging. A pendulum is that weight hanging from a string. Often seen in old clocks, it swings up high to one side, using all its energy. Then, it slows down at the top, pauses for a tiny moment, and swings back down, picking up speed as it goes low. It passes the middle point and starts swinging up the other side. This is what money can do. It swings high, then it swings low. The energy, or the wealth, doesn't disappear from the universe. It just changes its position, its direction, and who holds it. The challenge is often how we react when we are at the top of the swing and how we react when we are at the bottom. This idea of cycles isn't meant to make anyone feel scared about money. Instead, it's about understanding the world a little better. It reminds us that change is natural, and it's always happening. It also tells us that what really matters might not be how much money we have at this exact moment, but how we live our lives, how we treat others, and how we learn and grow no matter where the pendulum swings. It's a quiet truth that helps us stay calm and strong, understanding that every low point has the potential for a swing upwards again, and every high point teaches us to be humble and thoughtful about what we have. Can money really be a way to say thank you? At first thought, it might seem strange. Money is just paper or numbers on a screen, right? It buys things. But here's the thing. Money isn't always just about buying. Sometimes it's a quiet language of appreciation. It can be a deep way to show you value someone's time, effort, or kindness. Think about it this way. When someone does something for you, they give a piece of their life. They give their time, their energy, their skill. Money, in some cultures, becomes a way to honor that gift. It's like saying, I see the value in what you did, and I want to acknowledge it. It's a practical way to show respect, to make sure their effort is recognized and rewarded. Long ago, before money as we know it existed, people traded. If a farmer shared extra crops with a neighbor who helped fix their fence, that was a kind of thank you. It was a trade of value for help. Later, when coins and bills came along, they became a more standard way to do this. Kings would give out gold to loyal knights, not just as payment, but as a deep sign of favor and gratitude for their service. In some traditions, giving a gift of money, especially in specific amounts, has always been a way to show respect or deep thanks at a wedding, a funeral, or a special celebration. It connects the past effort to future well-being. It says, because of you, I have this, and I want to share a piece of it with you. Here's an example you might know. Imagine your older sibling spends hours helping you understand a really tricky math problem, even though they have their own homework. Or maybe a friend helps you study for a big test. If your parents then give that sibling or friend some money to go get ice cream or buy a new video game, it's not just a payment for their time. It's a thank you for their patience, their knowledge, and their generosity. The money is a small, tangible sign that their help was truly appreciated, that their effort mattered. It's a way to give back some of the good they put out into the world. So, money isn't just about what you can buy. When it's given thoughtfully, with gratitude, it carries a deeper message. It becomes a quiet agreement that says, I value you. I value what you do, and I want to acknowledge it in a way that truly helps you. It transforms from a simple tool into a bridge of connection, a way to show deep respect and appreciation for the people who make our lives better. Have you ever wondered why some things are just not talked about? like a quiet secret, not because it's bad, but because it feels important, maybe even sacred. For many of us, money is a topic we discuss all the time. We talk about what we want to buy, what things cost, or how much something earns. But in some places, in some cultures, talking about money isn't a casual thing at all. It's almost as if it's too personal, or perhaps not important enough to even bring up in daily conversation. Think about it. Long, long ago, before there were big cities, before banks and the way we use money today, people lived in smaller groups. Wealth wasn't just about how much stuff you owned as an individual. It was more about shared resources, about what you could contribute to your family or your village. If someone had a lot, it was generally understood that they would share. So, bragging about what you had would feel very strange, maybe even disrespectful. It wasn't about showing off, it was about living together. In many traditional ways of thinking, there's a deep belief that focusing too much on money can be a distraction. It can pull your attention away from truly important things, like building strong family bonds, practicing your faith, or looking after your community. It's like a quiet warning. Don't let material things take over your mind. Don't let them make you forget what truly matters in life. Also, many cultures value humility very deeply. Humility means not showing off, not bragging about what you have, or how good you are at something. If you're humble, you probably wouldn't talk about your money. Doing so might make others feel less fortunate, or might seem like you're trying to look better than them. This quiet approach helps keep everyone on a more equal footing, even if their financial situations are different. It encourages focusing on character and actions, not on how much is in someone's wallet. Here's an idea that might help it make sense. Think about your deepest dreams. Maybe you have a goal, something truly special you want to achieve, like becoming a certain kind of artist, or building something incredible, or helping a lot of people. Do you shout it from the rooftops the moment you think of it? Probably not. Sometimes, you keep these big dreams quiet. You let them grow inside you, like a seed planted in the dark earth, needing time and quiet to sprout. It feels special precisely because it's private. Talking about it too much can sometimes make it feel less real, or even make you feel like you've already done it when you haven't done. It's not a secret because it's bad, but because it's precious and personal. It's a bit like that with money in some places. It's seen as a very personal matter, almost like a part of your inner world or your family's private space. It's not something to show off or compare with others. It's something you manage quietly, often with a sense of responsibility and care, rather than pride or competition. So, when a culture doesn't talk much about money, it's not always about hiding something. Instead, it can be a way of saying something profound without words. Our true wealth isn't measured by what we own, but by who we are, how we treat each other, and the values we live by. It's a quiet reminder that some of the most important things in life are not bought or sold, and they certainly don't need to be shouted about to be real or important. It's a way of focusing on a deeper kind of richness and the strong connections between people, on shared stories, and on traditions passed down, rather than just the numbers in a bank account. It reminds us that sometimes silence can also speak volumes, especially when it comes to what a community truly values deep down. We often think of money as just ours, for buying things, for saving. But what if money isn't always about me? What if it's deeply tied to us? For many cultures, money isn't just a tool for personal wants. It's a powerful way to show care for the people around you, to build strong groups, and to help everyone in a community thrive. It's like a thread that weaves people together, connecting needs with resources in a shared way. Think way back, long before money as we know it existed. People lived in small tribes or villages. If someone had a good hunt, they shared the meat. If someone's roof needed fixing after a storm, everyone helped. This wasn't about getting paid in the way we think of it today. It was about survival. It was about knowing that if you helped your neighbor, they'd help you back someday. It was a kind of unspoken promise, a deep understanding that everyone depended on everyone else. The community was strong because people supported each other with what they had, whether it was food, time, or skill. Then money came along. At first, it was just a way to make trading things easier. but the old idea of community support never really left. In many places, money became a new way to organize that help, even when people didn't know each other directly. It allowed larger groups of people to still share and help by contributing to a common fund or cause. Money became a symbol of shared effort towards a common good, instead of just a personal gain. Here's the thing. When we use money to support our community, it's like a living network. Imagine a small town where people care deeply about their local library. Maybe they hold a bake sale every year, or a local business donates some of its profits from selling books. That money goes into buying new books, fixing the roof, or running story time for kids. No one person owns the library, but everyone benefits from it. The money isn't just spent, it's invested in shared well-being. It strengthens the whole town, making it a better place for everyone to live and learn. This can help everyone feel safer and more connected to where they live. It's similar to how our own bodies work. Each part, like our heart or our lungs, does its own important job, but they also support the whole body, working together so you can run, think, and play. If one part is struggling, the others try to help. When a community uses money to support something like a local park, for example, everyone might enjoy that green space. Kids play there, adults relax, and it makes the whole area nicer. The money used for the park isn't just for one person's fun. It makes life better for many people. So, here's what I found. Money, in its deepest sense, can be a way to show what we value together. It's not always about what you can buy for yourself. It's about what we can build, create, and share as a group. When we use money to lift others up or to make our shared spaces better, it makes us all richer. Not just with more stuff, but with stronger bonds, more trust, and a deeper sense of belonging. It reminds us that our own well-being is often tied to the well-being of those around us, and that's why it matters. Have you ever stopped to really think about money? Not just the coins in your pocket or the numbers on a screen, but what money truly is. It's more than just paper, metal, or a digital entry. It's a profound idea, something we all agree has value, and that agreement shapes our world in powerful ways. Here's the thing. Money didn't just appear one day as shiny coins. For a very long time, people traded things directly. This was called bartering. Imagine you had extra baskets, and you needed flour. You'd find someone with flour and offer your baskets. But what if the person with flour didn't need baskets? Or what if your baskets were seen as less valuable than their flour? It quickly became complicated. This constant challenge made people search for a better way to exchange. So, different cultures all over the world started using things that almost everyone agreed were valuable and could be easily divided or carried. Things like beautiful seashells, large salt blocks, or even special stones. These weren't money as we know it, but they were the early whispers of the idea of money. They represented a step towards a shared understanding of worth. Eventually, people moved towards precious metals like gold and silver, which were rare and didn't rot. Then came coins, stamped with symbols. Later, paper money appeared, which was a promise from a bank or government. This entire journey, from salt to digital transactions, is about one central concept: trust. Money, in essence, is a shared belief. It's a giant, unspoken agreement between almost everyone that this specific thing can be exchanged for real goods and services. This agreement is what allows money to travel seamlessly from hand to hand, from one country to another, like an invisible but powerful current. Think about something else that flows, invisible but essential. Information on the internet. You can't touch it, but it moves instantly across continents, connecting billions of people. Money is similar. It's an energy that flows through people and systems, connecting us all. When you earn money, you're taking in that energy. When you spend it, you're sending that energy out. It's constantly moving, like blood through veins, sustaining the collective body of human interaction. Your dollar might start with a farmer, move to a truck driver, then to a store owner, and finally to you when you buy a snack. It keeps flowing, touching countless lives, often without us even realizing the vast network it creates. It doesn't sit still. It's always in motion, like water in a river or breath in our lungs. And as it moves, it carries a piece of our effort, our dreams, and our collective trust. When you hold a dollar bill, it's not just ink on paper. It's a tiny piece of human history, a symbol of countless exchanges that came before it, and countless more that will come after. So, when you see money, try to see beyond the numbers. See the journey it has taken, the agreements it represents, and the trust it embodies. It's a powerful idea, connecting us all in ways we rarely think about. Money, in its deepest sense, is a flowing river of human agreement, a shared story we all tell, every single day, with every exchange. It reminds us that even the most abstract ideas can profoundly shape our entire world, binding us together, one transaction at a time. Have you ever stopped to think about what money truly is? I mean, beyond the coins in your pocket or the numbers on a screen, it's not just metal or paper. Here's the thing, money is a much deeper idea. It's actually a special kind of promise. Think about it this way. When you earn $1, that dollar isn't just a piece of green paper. It's a promise from society. It's a promise that if you give that dollar to someone else, they will give you something of equal value in return. Maybe a candy bar, or a ride on the bus, or even time doing a job for you. It's a promise of what you can get later. Long, long ago, before money existed, people traded. This was called bartering. If you had extra apples and needed shoes, you had to find someone with extra shoes who wanted apples. But what if the shoemaker didn't want apples? What if they wanted fish? It got complicated fast. So, people started using things that everyone agreed had value, like shells or salt or shiny metals. These items weren't just valuable themselves. They became a stand-in for a future trade. They became a symbol of a promise. Over time, this idea evolved into what we call money. The government prints it, or banks create digital numbers, but the core idea is the same. It's a shared agreement. We all collectively agree that this piece of paper, or this number, represents a promise that it can be exchanged for goods or services. It works because we trust. It works. Without that trust, it's just paper. This can help you understand why money isn't just about wealth. It's about our shared faith in each other and in the system we've built. Imagine you have a friend who says, "If you help me clean my garage this Saturday, I promise to buy you a pizza next week." That promise, even though it's just words, has value. You trust your friend will follow through. That pizza promise is like a small piece of money. You do the work, give value, and you get a promise, the future pizza. Money works the same way, but on a huge scale. Every dollar you hold is like a promise note from the whole world, saying, "We promise to give you something for this later." So, when we talk about money, we're not just talking about economics or numbers. We're talking about trust. We're talking about a vast, invisible network of promises that connects us all. It's a deep idea. It's about what we believe in, what we count on each other for, and that's why it matters. This might work for you. Next time you see a dollar bill, you might see it differently, not just as a tool, but as a quiet, powerful promise that weaves through our lives. It's a promise we all keep together every single day. Have you ever thought about how different groups of people show respect to their oldest members? Not just a polite nod, but something deeper, something that connects to how they handle money? Here's the thing. In many cultures around the world, how money is used, shared, or even saved tells a big story about how much elders are honored. It's not always about giving a direct payment, but about providing support. This might mean children helping their parents or grandparents with living costs. It could be about building a home where different generations live together, sharing resources. In these places, money isn't just about what you can buy for yourself. It's also a tool to show gratitude and responsibility to those who came before you. It's a quiet promise that says, "We will take care of you, just as you once took care of us." Think about how things used to be, a long, long time ago. Before books and the internet, older people were like living libraries. They held all the stories, the history, the knowledge about farming or hunting, and how to heal. Their wisdom was crucial for the whole community to survive. So, it made perfect sense to care for them deeply. It wasn't just kind, it was smart. By supporting them, you were protecting the most valuable resource, knowledge itself. Money, or whatever form of wealth existed then, was often used to ensure these wise elders were comfortable and safe, so they could keep sharing what they knew. This wasn't a one-way street, though. It was a cycle. The young learned from the old, and in return, they provided for them. You can think of it like this. Imagine a tall, strong tree. The younger branches and leaves are vibrant and new, but the whole tree depends on its deep, old roots. Those roots gathered water and nutrients for years, holding the tree steady through storms. They are the foundation. If you want the tree to keep growing and producing fruit, you have to make sure those roots are healthy and nourished. In many cultures, the elders are seen as the roots of the family or community, and providing them with comfort and security, sometimes through money or shared resources, is like watering those roots. It's making sure the foundation stays strong, which helps the whole family and everyone in it to thrive. So, when we look at these beliefs, we see that money isn't just about personal wealth. It can be a way to show a deep respect for life's journey, for the wisdom that comes with age, and for the bonds that tie us all together. It's a reminder that we are all part of something bigger, a continuous line from the past to the future. And sometimes, how we use our money shows just how much we value that connection. Have you ever wondered what happens to someone's money and belongings after they're no longer here? It's a question many cultures have thought about for thousands of years. It's not just about who gets what, but about how a family's history, their hard work, and their values continue on. Different societies all across our world have found unique ways to handle this. They've created traditions and rules that shape what it means to pass wealth down. Think about it like this. Wealth isn't always just coins or big houses. Sometimes, it's land. In many ancient cultures, especially those that relied on farming, land was everything. It fed the family, kept them safe. So, passing down land meant passing down life itself. Often, this land would go to the eldest son. This ensured the family name continued, and the land stayed whole, providing for the next generation. It was about making sure the family line was strong and unbroken, a deep root in the soil. But other cultures saw things differently. For some, it wasn't just about family. It was about the community. Maybe a powerful leader would leave their wealth to build a temple, a school, or help those in need. Their legacy wasn't just in their bloodline, but in the good they did for everyone around them. It was a belief that true wealth was shared wealth, something that lifted up the whole village, not just one household. Consider a relay race, like the ones you might see in a track meet. One runner dashes forward, holding a baton. They run as fast as they can, but their race isn't truly done until they smoothly pass that baton to the next runner. The second runner then takes off, carrying the same baton, the same momentum, the same hope for victory. In this race, the goal isn't for one person to finish alone. The goal is for the team to succeed, to carry something forward together. Passing down wealth can be like that baton. It's not just about money changing hands. It's about carrying forward the lessons learned, the wisdom gained, the dreams held by those who came before us. Sometimes, it's a family business, carefully nurtured over generations. Other times, it's a piece of advice, a story, or a way of seeing the world that shapes how you live your life. It's a kind of energy, a momentum that keeps moving. So, when we talk about passing down wealth, we're really talking about continuity. We're talking about the threads that connect us to the past and stretch into the future. It's about how we honor what came before and how we prepare for what comes next. It's a quiet conversation between generations, a silent agreement to keep the best parts of us alive. It makes you wonder, what kind of baton will you one day want to pass on? What will your contribution be to the continuous race of humanity? It's something to think about, a quiet truth that echoes across time. Have you ever stopped to think about the idea that money itself might be a bad thing, or that having a lot of it can actually change a person for the worse? This isn't just a random thought. It's a belief that has echoed through human history, across different cultures, for thousands of years. Here's the thing. When people talk about money corrupting, they often mean that wealth can lead to greed, selfishness, or a loss of what makes someone truly good. It suggests that if you get rich, you might start doing unethical things, or forget your friends, or care only about yourself. It's like money has a hidden power to twist people's hearts and minds. Think about old stories, fables, and even ancient proverbs. Many of them warn against the dangers of too much wealth. Religious texts from all over the world speak about it. For example, some traditions teach that the love of money is the root of all evil. Notice it says the love of money, not money itself. This suggests it's not the actual paper or coins that are the problem, but the powerful desire for them, the obsession, or the way people chase it above everything else. Even wise thinkers from ancient Greece worried that people would get so caught up in making money that they would forget about wisdom, kindness, or fairness. They saw how some rich people became arrogant or forgot about the struggles of others. And that's why it matters. This belief highlights a deep fear we have about human nature. It asks us if we can handle great power without being changed by it. Money, after all, brings a lot of power. It gives you choices and opportunities others don't have. So, the question becomes, what do you do with that power? Here's a way to think about it. Imagine a simple game you play with friends, like a board game. At first, everyone plays for fun. There's laughter, friendly competition. But what if suddenly, a huge prize was added for the winner? Maybe a brand new video game system or a big amount of cash. How might the game change? Some players might become overly competitive, maybe even cheat. Others might get angry or pushy. The prize itself didn't make them bad people, right? It just brought out certain behaviors that were perhaps already there, hidden beneath the surface. It acted like a powerful magnifier. Money can be like that prize. It doesn't magically turn a good person into a bad one, but it can make the parts of them that are already present become much louder, much more obvious. If someone is already kind and generous, money might give them the means to help more people or support causes they believe in. If someone is already a bit selfish or insecure, money might make them more controlling, more arrogant, or more isolated. It can amplify their true self, for better or worse. So, when we say money corrupts, maybe we're really talking about something else. Maybe we're talking about the choices people make when they have a lot of money. Money is a tool, just like a hammer or a pen. A hammer can build a beautiful house, or it can be used to destroy. A pen can write inspiring stories, or it can be used to forge signatures. The tool itself is neutral. Its impact depends entirely on the hands that wield it and the mind that guides those hands. This belief makes us wonder, what kind of person would you be if you had immense wealth? What values would you hold on to? It's a quiet challenge, a gentle reminder that true character isn't measured by how much money you have, but by how you choose to live and the kind of person you are, no matter your circumstances. It's about remembering what truly matters beyond possessions. What if you could buy anything you ever wanted? A giant house, the newest video games, endless snacks? Would all those things make your mind feel completely calm and peaceful? It's a really interesting question to think about. Peace of mind is a quiet, settled feeling deep inside you. It's when your worries aren't screaming so loud. It's a sense of calm, like a still lake on a quiet morning. When your mind feels peaceful, you don't feel stressed out, or scared, or like something bad is always about to happen. Now, money definitely helps with some big, loud worries. If you don't have to worry about where your next meal comes from, or if you'll have a safe place to sleep, that takes a huge weight off your shoulders. Money can pay for good doctors when you're sick. It can help you learn new things or travel. So, yes, having enough money can make a lot of life's daily stresses fade away. It can buy comfort, safety, and opportunities. And sometimes, those things can lead to a feeling of peace. But here's the thing. Those are mostly outside worries. What about the worries that live inside your head? Things like feeling lonely or worrying if your friends really like you. Money can't fix an argument with your best friend. It can't make you feel good about yourself if you're struggling with self-doubt. It can't make you happy if you don't know what makes you feel purposeful. So, a person can have all the money in the world and still feel lost, or sad, or worried about things money simply cannot touch. Wise thinkers from long ago, people like the ancient philosophers, spent their lives asking these kinds of questions. They noticed that kings and queens who had more riches than anyone could still be unhappy or filled with dread. and they saw ordinary people, with very little, who seemed to carry a deep inner calm. These thinkers realized that true peace didn't come from owning lots of things. It came from how you thought about life, how you treated others, and how you handled what happened to you. They believed peace was built from the inside out. Imagine someone living in a giant mansion, a house with 100 rooms and a huge swimming pool. They have fancy cars and anything they could ever wish for. But inside that mansion, their mind is racing. Maybe they're worried about losing their money, or they feel lonely, or they're unhappy with who they are. That huge, beautiful house doesn't make their mind quiet. It's like having the fastest, prettiest bicycle in the world, but your legs are too tired to pedal, or you don't even know where you want to go. The bicycle itself can't give you the joy of the ride. So, here's what it comes down to. Money can buy a lot of good things in the world. It can make your life much more comfortable and take away many fears about survival. But it can't buy that deep, settled feeling of peace in your heart and mind. That kind of peace grows from inside you. It comes from how you choose to look at things, how you connect with others, and how you find calm within yourself, no matter what's happening outside. Peace of mind isn't something you purchase, it's something you cultivate. Have you ever wondered why, in some cultures, people seem to spend a huge amount of money on big celebrations? Think about weddings, birthdays that mark major ages, or even just family gatherings. These aren't just small get-togethers. They're often massive events, with lots of food, gifts, and decorations, and they cost a lot. It might make you think, why all that expense? Is it just to show off? Well, it's usually much deeper than that. Often, these big parties and the money poured into them are deeply connected to a culture's core beliefs about respect, family, and how people connect within their community. It's like a powerful statement, but instead of just words, it's made with generous spending, shared food, and vibrant celebration. It's a way of showing honor and cementing relationships. Think about human history. For thousands of years, long before money was even invented, people gathered for important moments. They celebrated new life, marked passages into adulthood, and shared resources during big harvests. These gatherings were never just simple parties. They were crucial ways to build strong communities, to show loyalty, to honor elders, or to welcome new members into the group. Spending a lot, even with simple goods in ancient times, might have shown a family's strength or its commitment to the group. It wasn't about being wasteful, it was an investment in social bonds, in a sense of belonging. And here's the thing, these old roots still shape how people choose to spend today. It's a way of saying, we truly value this moment. We truly value you and our connection. It's a bit like when you save up your allowance for weeks or months to buy a really special birthday gift for your best friend or a family member. It's not just about the item itself, it's about showing how much that person means to you, showing your care and appreciation. The money you spend, the effort you put in, becomes a symbol of something much bigger than just the cost of the gift. The big party spending is like that, but on a community scale. It's a powerful way to show respect, to fulfill social duties, and to publicly celebrate the bonds that tie people together. It's often about giving back to the community that has supported you, or about creating a memorable event that will be talked about for years, strengthening the collective memory. So, when you see pictures of elaborate weddings in India, or grand family feasts in China, or huge celebrations in West Africa, remember, it's not just about the price tag. It's about layers of meaning. It's about identity, about belonging, about respect passed down through many generations. These acts of spending, of giving, of feasting together are like strong threads weaving communities closer. They remind us that sometimes the true value of money isn't what it can buy for just ourselves, but what it can build between us. It's a quiet, deep testament to human connection, a value much more profound than any amount of money. Have you ever thought about what it truly means to be free? Not just free from school, but deeply, truly free. For many people, across different times and places, money isn't just about things you buy. It's about freedom. It's like a tool that lets you make choices you couldn't make otherwise. It gives you options. Here's the thing. When you have money, you can choose where you live, what you eat, or what kind of education you get. You can decide if you want to travel or stay put. This can help you decide how you spend your time, who you help, or what risks you take. It means you're not stuck. Without money, your choices are often very limited by what you have to do to survive. So, here's what happened in history. Long ago, if you were born into a poor farming family, that's probably where you stayed. You worked the same land your parents did. You had very few choices about your future. But when money and trade became more common, people could earn enough to leave their village, to start a new business, or to learn a new skill. Money became a way to break free from where you were born. It was like a ticket to a new life, a way to escape hard situations or unfair rules. It offered a kind of freedom that wasn't possible before. But here's the point. It's not just about being rich. It's about having the ability to choose. The ability to say yes to something new, or no to something you don't want to do. It's about being able to decide for yourself instead of letting circumstances decide for you. And that's a powerful kind of freedom. Imagine you have a bunch of locked doors in front of you. Each door represents an opportunity or a choice. Maybe one leads to a better school, another to a helpful doctor, another to a safe home. Money, in a way, gives you more keys to more doors. Not just fancy doors, but everyday doors. The door to a healthier meal, the door to a quiet place to study, the door to a new experience. Without these keys, many good doors might stay closed, no matter how much you wish they'd open. But with them, you have more choices about which paths you take, which means you have more freedom to shape your own life. This idea shows us that money isn't just about greed or buying flashy stuff. At its core, for many, it represents the quiet power to steer your own ship. It's about reducing worries, giving you peace of mind, and allowing you to pursue what matters most to you. It's about being able to help your family, to learn new things, or to simply feel safe and secure. The freedom money offers is less about owning things and more about owning your own life choices. It's about having the space to breathe and to simply be. Have you ever worried about something precious disappearing? Maybe a favorite game console, or all the pictures on your phone. That flutter in your stomach, that knot of worry, that's a small glimpse of a deep feeling. It's the fear of losing everything, not just things, but security, comfort, even who you are. This fear isn't new. It's as old as humans themselves. Imagine early people living day to day. They needed food, shelter, safety from wild animals. If a hunt failed, if their shelter broke, or if a storm hit, they truly could lose everything they had. Their very survival was on the line. This fear became wired into us. It helped us stay careful, plan ahead, and protect what little we had. Even as societies grew, and people started having more than just the basics, this fear stayed. Think about farmers long ago. Their entire year, their family's food, depended on a good harvest. A single drought or a flood could wipe out everything. One bad season meant starvation. They saved seeds, stored food, and prayed for rain. They understood deeply what it meant to have and then to lose. Philosophers, people who thought deeply about life, also talked about this. Some said we shouldn't get too attached to things. They believed that if you valued possessions too much, you'd always be afraid of losing them. And that fear, they argued, could stop you from truly living. It's like being so scared of dropping your ice cream that you never even take a bite. It's a balance. We need things, but we don't want them to own us. Think about a carefully built tower of blocks. You spend time, you focus, you make it just right. It stands tall and proud. Then, someone bumps the table, or a tiny tremor shakes the floor, and it all tumbles down. All that work, gone in a second. That feeling of sudden collapse, of something you relied on disappearing, that's what this fear tastes like on a bigger scale. Your tower might be your savings, your job, your home. The thought of it all falling apart can be really scary. In psychology, this fear is sometimes linked to our need for safety and control. When we have things, money, a home, possessions, we feel safer. We feel like we have some control over our lives and future. Losing those things feels like losing that control, like being adrift. It can make us cling tighter, even when holding on hurts. But what if everything isn't just about what we can touch? What if it's about courage, or kindness, or the ability to learn and adapt? These are things that can't be taken away by a market crash or a storm. They live inside us. The fear of losing everything can be a heavy burden. But maybe it can also teach us to value what truly cannot be lost. It helps us remember what parts of us are strong, even when the world outside feels shaky. That's why it matters. It pushes us to think about what security truly means and where we find our deepest peace. Have you ever stopped to think about the quiet power held within the words we use every single day? We use words to describe the world around us, right? But what if those words don't just describe? What if they actually shape the world? Especially when it comes to something like money. Here's the thing. Our beliefs about money, the deep down feelings we have, often come from the words we hear and use. Think about common phrases like, money is the root of all evil, or maybe, money doesn't grow on trees. These aren't just silly sayings. Over time, these words can settle into our minds like tiny seeds. And what kind of tree grows from a seed that says money is bad or that it's impossible to get? Probably not a very happy or helpful one. Across history, people have always believed that words have a special power. Ancient cultures had blessings and curses, which were basically powerful words spoken to bring good or bad things. They believed words could call things into being. Think of it like this. If someone constantly said their field would never grow crops year after year, that negative talk could maybe make them less likely to try new farming methods or to even care for the land as much. Their words shape their actions and then the outcome. So, how does this connect to you and money? Imagine your words about money are like the blueprints for a house. If you draw a blueprint that says the house is tiny, weak, and impossible to build, then that's probably what you'll get. Or you might not even try to build it at all. But if your words say, I can learn about money, or money can be a tool to help others, then your mental blueprint starts to look very different. This isn't about magic spells. It's about how our language forms our thoughts, and our thoughts then guide our actions. In psychology, they talk about something called framing. It means how you talk about something. The words you use can totally change how you see it and react to it. If you frame money as a source of stress, you'll feel stressed. If you frame it as a chance to create something good, you might feel more hopeful. It's a quiet kind of power, isn't it? The power to choose our words carefully, not just to describe our financial world, but to help build it, piece by careful piece. By becoming more aware of the words we use about money, we start to understand the hidden beliefs we hold. And that understanding can be the first step towards writing a new story for ourselves, one word at a time. It lets us choose the kind of seeds we want to plant for our future. Have you ever really stopped to think about money? Not just the coins in your pocket or the numbers on a screen, but what money really is. It's more than just pieces of paper or metal. Money is an idea. It's something we all agree has value, even if it's just a shiny rock or a digital number. It's a shared belief, a giant trust exercise we all participate in every single day. Think about it this way. Long ago, people traded things directly. A farmer with extra corn might trade it for a hunter's deer meat. This worked, but it was hard. What if the hunter didn't want corn? What if the corn went bad before a trade happened? This problem, sometimes called the double coincidence of wants, made life tricky. So, humans started looking for something everyone would accept. Maybe it was seashells, or salt, or rare stones. These things weren't useful on their own, not like food or tools, but everyone agreed they had value. And that's how money, in its earliest forms, was born. It was never about the thing itself, but about what it represented, the ability to get what you need or want from someone else later. Here's a good way to think about it. Imagine a school play. The tickets for the play aren't beautiful pieces of art. They're just paper. But everyone knows that a ticket means you get to enter the play. It's an agreement. If the school suddenly decided tickets were no longer needed, they would become worthless pieces of paper. Money is kind of like that ticket, but on a much bigger scale. It's a symbol of value, and its power comes from our shared belief in that symbol. Like gravity, It's a force that helps organize our world. But unlike gravity, we invented it. We created this system, and we keep it going with our trust. So, when you hold a dollar bill or see a price tag, remember it's not just about the numbers. It's about a deep, ancient agreement among people. It's about trust, shared understanding, and the way we organize our lives to get what we need and help each other. Understanding money in this way means seeing it not just as a tool for buying things, but as a window into human history, our shared psychology, and how we choose to live together on this planet. It's a powerful idea, and it shapes so much of our world, quietly, deeply, and continuously.